What's up? How's it going? Good to see you. Welcome in. What's up, everybody? How you doing tonight? Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. See you, good to be here. Here, there's a huge number here. I don't know why. Come on. What about now? Does it sound still weird? Let's see. Is it any better? How's the sound now? Sounds better. Yeah, I don't know. You okay, Josh? You seem confused. I'm fine, thank you. Ba, 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 ba. Seem confused. What is it? Why do I seem confused? What's up, one big doodle? Good to see you. I was sound is off. All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's off, if it's not off, it's better. I hope it's better. Cool. All right. Anyway, good to see you. Good to be here. Welcome in. Please hit that like button if you have not. And we will go ahead and get started here shortly. I like the rest of you, I've been kind of listening to a bit of what's going on south of the border. And man, it's just like, I don't even know. It's really weird that a country is under siege by cartel, and one of the most wanted men in all of Mexico and the United States. It's I mean, they just I don't know. I guess they had a dead or alive situation going on with him, and they chose the dead, and now it creates this power vacuum. Everybody's jostling, and it's terrifying. I would not be going anywhere. I think they have a shelter in place, and so anyway, so let me say hi to some people in the chat here. It's good to see you. Hello, how are you? Sherry, yeah, doing fine. I'm not any more confused than normal. If that makes any sense. And but so sometimes I'm confused, sometimes I'm not. This case has nothing to do with Mexico unless Dominic Evans has fled to there. Didn't say it did. Hi from Australia. G'day. Very wild, yeah. I don't feel confused. I mean, it just depends what you're asking about. You're all in, huh? Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Linda. Good to see you. Sean, good to see you. Good to see you. Sound is good now. Okay. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And thank you to everybody that was at the show last night. It was a great show. Chris and John, just so generous with their time and their expertise. And, 99% of the chat was wonderful. And 1% of it was crap, which is a very, very good ratio to me, at least. I thought so. And so it was a great show. And I always appreciate when they come on, and then Chris, had a great show on the interview room today. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure to do that, but make sure not to do it until this one's over. Yeah, I honestly, I never rewatch any shows that I do, almost never. And I didn't rewatch that one either, but I considered it. I was like, oh, maybe I'll. Nah, it's just for some reason I don't know. If I weren't on it, I would probably rewatch it. If that's a promotion that you're into, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Let's see, Melissa. I'm so confused about this case. I can't imagine having my money and go through this. My mom's been gone a long time, however. It was old age. Yeah, I get that. I watched last night late and again today. Very cool. Thank you. Yeah, no, it was good. It's a great show, I thought. I feel terrible. They have not caught anyone. They certainly have not. And so we're going to just start off with a little bit of what's going on in Mexico, and then we will get right on to the Nancy Guthrie case, because I saw Enton's show or podcast or whatever it is that he put out, and I haven't seen it yet, but it looked really interesting. I'm sure some of you have seen it. We'll discuss it a little bit, and we'll discuss a little bit of the show from last night as well. Here's a question. The lab, do you believe a neighbor could be involved? Yeah. I mean, at this point, anything is possible. Proximity to me is always a viable option. And, it's just, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Do I think so? Yes. Is there any indication? I don't know. I don't know. It's possible. Watch one. I rewatched the one where Megyn Kelly called Chris Cuomo Fredo like 30 times. That was funny. That was actually a funny episode. The lab, please tell me I'm not the only one who still believes Annie and Tommaso are involved. And do we know if they still have Annie's car or if the family is sticking together? I would imagine that you're probably not the only one that feels that way. I think there are probably a lot of people that feel that way. It's hard to say, I've heard a lot of people still feel that way, and I don't know if they still have her car or not. They haven't said anything, but we'll see. Yeah, we have no idea if they've released her car yet or not. All right, let's listen to a little bit of this, and I'll give you my.
Now, an American who is currently in Puerto Vallarta, fearing for their safety as we speak. They were rushed out of their Airbnb earlier today due to the extreme violence, witnessing buildings being torn apart and cars set on fire. They're asking not to be named tonight for their safety, but they're on the phone with us right now. I'm so grateful you're making the time to join us. Our thoughts are certainly with you. Can you tell us about what happened today? Where were you? How did this all start?
So we were in the south of Puerto Vallarta, and
now you can see why when Enton went to Mexico, why they don't even know about the Nancy Guthrie case, because this is the stuff that they deal with all the time. I mean, right now you're seeing this blow up because a major cartel leader was killed, but you know this is nothing new, nothing. Unfortunately, it's such a terrible place to be. And then people wonder why, you know, people try and cross the border illegally.
as you said, we were rushed out of our Airbnb. We had
I know I would.
scheduled vans to take us to our flights all around midday, but we saw the smoke billowing in the air, and we also were rushed out by our Airbnb hosts who said that they needed to get us out because the cartel was in the area and very active. That's all we really knew. So we were thrown onto water taxis, taken halfway towards the marina. Once we reached about halfway, they told us that the marina was actually closed, so we had to offload in a midtown area where we're still very much in the action.
God, I mean, and then being an American citizen stuck over there.
I'm so sorry. That is so scary. And you're just there on vacation?
Yes.
Wow. What?
Rusty McShackleford, did I see that you said that your mother has a cruise planned? Oh man. I mean, even if it's Cancun, I don't want to tell you what to do, and I don't want to tell your mother what to do, but whoever runs those cruises should be offering refunds immediately. I mean, they should be offering refunds to everybody. And yeah, it's bad for business, but you know what else is bad for business? Having American citizens killed.
What a way for this to go. What are some of the things
Anybody, really, to be honest with you.
that you've seen on the ground, and what was going through your mind as you think that you're going to safety in this water taxi, and then you're told that it's closed, and you're right back in all of this?
It's honestly surreal. It feels like we were just thrown into a terrible movie, terrible nightmare. The bright side is it's been some optimism here. When we first arrived at the hotel, there was a lot of panic, and very quickly after we settled in our hotel, there was a fire that was ignited behind us. But
yeah, the Mexican military took out the one of the most wanted cartel leaders in all of Mexico. He was also wanted in the United States. I mean, these guys are huge drug traffickers.
Locals, tourists, and staff all banded together very quickly and put out the fire before it was able to spread. It only destroyed one convenience store, but this was the case all up and down the strip that we were on. And after people banded together, also those same locals and staff were helping pass out aid, and everyone's been sharing the wealth, so to say, so that everyone's not totally without rations and everyone has something to eat.
What a situation. And it seems like, as it's playing out on the ground, you have these helpers, right? You have your Airbnb host who's saying it's time to get you out. We need to get you out now. You have the people on the ground who are trying to resist the cartel's control and put out the fires and keep all of you safe and, pass out rations, etc. Do you have the sense that, while there are good people, thank God, who are helping you on the ground right now, that the cartel really does have control of this area at this time?
It's hard to say. We were totally in the dark. I think based on the locals' attitude, the military does have control again. We've seen cars, turret-mounted trucks driving around. We've seen military copters flying in, and we've seen tanks even in the area. But thankfully, we've not heard any gunfire near our area. So we do still see the plumes of smoke, and they've mostly died down right now.
I mean, look at
the air is a little smoky, so we can't really see it since it's nighttime here, but we're not totally feeling out of the water, but a little more optimism in the area as we wait for whatever day the airports open up and we can all get out of here.
Yeah. Have you heard anything about when the earliest is you can actually get home? What are the immediate next steps for you right now?
It's all kind of a black box. We've been told Thursday is the absolute earliest, but that could change tomorrow.
Thursday.
So we don't really know. Yes.
How are you even mentally preparing to survive this through Thursday?
I mean, what I get the question, but what choice does he have?
Hopefully one day at a time. Hopefully we can get some sleep tonight and things stay quiet as they have been. But the real thing we're hoping is that tomorrow, if it is true that the military has gained control back of this part that we're in, some shops will at least open up to sell food and we'll be able to get by and help each other out as it went on today.
How are your food and water supplies right now? Can they last you several more days?
I believe so. I think food-wise, because only a very minimal amount of shops open today, the rations are pretty low. So everyone's been...
I mean, and Melissa, it's good to see you. Yeah, I remember you. Hi, Josh. Don't know if you remember me. I haven't caught a live in a while. Been around since summer. Love you lots. I appreciate that. Summer just would have been 10 years old earlier this month, which is, I mean, it feels like such a long time. But thank you. I appreciate you being here. I would imagine that in the next couple of days, things will, I wouldn't say that they probably peak today. I would say tomorrow, the next day, but I think that they will eventually calm down. But these kind of flare-ups happen all the time. And just because they killed, a leader of the cartel, then there's 100 guys in line to take the place.
Being conservative, water has been pretty plentiful. I think luckily people carry a lot of water jugs around here, especially the hotels. So there's at least a supply of water, which is good. And the stores around, I'm hoping that they do open up. It's looking optimistic, but at the same time, I'm personally very on edge, and everyone I'm with is also still on edge.
Of course, you're on edge, and I so appreciate you joining us tonight and being willing to share a little bit of this. Our thoughts are certainly with you right now as you find yourself in.
Who wants you to live in fear? The cartel wants you to live in fear? Well, yeah, of course.
This terrible situation, and just wishing all of the best for you in these coming days. Please keep us posted, and wishing nothing but your safety. Thank you so much.
Let me see.
Hello, welcome. I'm Nomia Iqbal. In Mexico, the army has confirmed the death of one of the country's most feared drug lords, known as El Mencho, caught and killed in a dawn raid. He was killed in an operation in the...
How is that? That guy is a leader? I mean, I don't mean to make fun of it. Look at the guy. People took orders from him.
Town of Telpapa, the U.S. had previously issued a $15 million reward for the capture of the co-founder and leader of the Jalisco New Generation drugs cartel. It's feared for its use of extreme violence.
He looks like my uncle's best friend.
Violence broke out in the country as a result of his killing. Suspected members of the cartel began burning dozens of cars and trucks in the state and a neighboring state as the army moved in, possibly to try to delay the operation. Our Latin America correspondent, Will Grant, joins us now from Mexico. Good to have you with us, Will. First of all, for people who might not know anything about El Mencho, who was he?
He was crucial, Nami. I mean, we often talk in...
That's the biggest AirPod I have ever seen in my life. I'm trying not to pick things to look at, but that thing is massive. What the hell is that? I thought that was like a branch broke behind him. Look at the size of that thing. Look at the size of that AirPod. What the hell is that? Look at it. I've never seen an AirPod that big before. Holy shit.
Mexico about kingpins and drug lords and so on. This was one of the very, very biggest. In this particular moment in time, the most wanted man in Mexico, by some distance, I would say. The feared leader of the Jalisco New
He's going to trip over it.
Generation Cartel, which is a vast criminal organization which traffics tons and tons of methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl into the United States, responsible for scores of murders a year. And, you know, one of those who really underpins the criminal underworld in this nation. Of course, it's a major victory on some level for the authorities here, for the military who killed him in a raid, injured him initially, and then he died en route to Mexico City. But of course, we're seeing the unfolding violence that goes with that, as his organization is extremely powerful and very, very well armed.
Now, National Guard have been deployed outside the attorney's office after.
I mean, it's
that killing.
The Mexican army did.
We just showing some live pictures there in Mexico City of the National Guard outside the office. And Will, just give us a sense of what happens when leaders are taken out, this sort of kingpin strategy. You know, does it work? Is it something that, you know, what happens as a result of it?
No, I don't know if it's a knockoff or what. I mean, maybe the guy, just for comparison, has a tiny head. I don't know. I have no idea. But all I know is I've never.
It can have an impact. I mean, somebody like El Mencho, these organizations can be quite top heavy in the sense that an individual leader can be an important, more than just a cog in a bigger machine. They are leaders for that very reason. They lead troops, they lead men, and they bring strategy to the table. That said, where one leader falls, another is invariably ready to take his place.
I just said that.
Or her place. There are important women in drug trafficking too, but it is key that when one falls, there's.
No, it wasn't joint effort, but it was the United States' intelligence shared with the Mexican National Guard or Army, whatever. I can't. What do you mean? Stop looking at it. It's friggin' huge. How am I going to stop? Like, I'm going to okay. Here we go. I'm not going to look at it. I'm just going to listen. Okay.
Generally, people beneath him to replace him. We'll see what happens in this particular instance.
I looked again. Damn it.
It is interesting, this degree of violence and how quickly it's unfolded, and a real challenge for law enforcement in cities across Mexico. And let's just mention some of those cities. They include Guadalajara, the state capital, important cultural center in Mexico. They include, and going to be a host city of the FIFA World Cup this summer. They include Puerto Vallarta, a very, very important tourist hotspot in the country where potentially thousands of tourists currently hold up. So, you know, this is a major moment in sort of drug war history in Mexico.
And Will, I think we're still trying to work out, you might actually know more than I do, if the US were involved in any capacity in this operation. But nonetheless, I imagine that this will be seen as a victory by President Trump, the death of someone as significant as El Mencho.
Yeah, I mean, what we're hearing from the Mexican embassy in the United States is that there was US involvement in terms of intelligence work, and giving it that sort of slight sense of a joint operation in that regard. But my understanding is that what unfolded on the ground was a Mexican military raid that led to the death of El Mencho, but with intelligence supports from the United States. We'll doubtless hear more during the week, particularly once President Claudia Sheinbaum has her early morning press briefing on Monday. But you're right, this will be played as a victory, I think, on both sides of the border, with Donald Trump pushing, since he returned to office, for greater action to take place against Mexican cartels.
Thank you so much.
Are they going to move on to somebody? Oh, God.
Will, good to talk to you. That's Will Grant there, our Latin America correspondent.
Our Latin American correspondent. That's great.
Chris Dolby is a policy analyst, journalist, and author of a book about the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. It's called CNJG, Quick Guide to Mexico's Deadliest Cartel. And he told us more about the leader of the organization.
You've been reassigned to be our Latin American correspondent. Well, I'm British. Too bad. The AirPods got to go. There's not enough room in the studio for you and the AirPod and everybody else.
El Mencho was, without any competition, Mexico's deadliest and most influential drug trafficker.
Oh my God, his headphones aren't any better.
He is on the level of El Chapo or Pablo Escobar for his role in the international drug trade. He was also the founder of the CJNG, which for the last 15 years, he ruled with an almost cult of personality level of leadership. And his death leaves an enormous vacuum, which I fear will be filled with even more.
He looks exactly like Pedro.
Drug violence across Mexico.
Well, this is the fear, isn't it? That if you take out the leader, it just triggers more violence and fragmentation. Do you think that is likely to happen now? I mean, what is the benefit of taking someone out like that?
Without a doubt, El Mencho was responsible directly and indirectly for the violent death of thousands of people, and he needed to be brought to justice. However, the kingpin strategy, as you rightfully say, has a major flaw. When you remove the top dog, his lieutenants are going to fight more aggressively against each other to slice.
If I'm getting assigned to be the Latin American correspondent, I'm looking for a new job. Why can't you find somebody that lives in Latin America to do that? Donald Trump says he'll increase his new global.
Up the criminal empire. And the CJNG had one hell of a criminal empire, from drugs to illegal mining to oil theft to migrant smuggling to extortion. There's a lot for people to fight over. And El Mencho, as I said, had this sort of iron grip over the CJNG for 50.
You know, I couldn't, and thank you, Mary's Pop, AKA the zombie rib cage. What's Macho been up to today? Nothing. He's been hibernating. He got almost crawled inside the sleeve of my Carhartt jacket. I couldn't find him for a while.
In years, there was no talk of a successor. There was no talk of someone picked to be his heir. There are 4, 5, 6 different leaders, each with significant ground across Mexico, each with a lot of troops under their command. And I'm not aware of any one of them having the ability to take over where El Mencho left.
We're just seeing some pictures now of the aftermath of the operation. As I mentioned, suspected members of the cartel burnt dozens of cars and trucks in Jalisco and neighboring.
Yeah, El Macho.
State, as the army was.
It stands for the Macho.
Was moving in. Just bringing you back into this, Chris, in terms.
El Macho.
Of, you know, the U.
I mean, he sort of does kind of run a cartel in the house.
US isn't. They weren't involved in the operation, as my understanding is, but nonetheless, his killing it could be seen as some sort of prize to President Trump. We know there's been months of pressure over fentanyl and designating drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Would you characterize that as a win for the US?
It's certainly going to be played that way by Donald Trump.
I don't understand. It's just next man up. Like that's really what it is. There's somebody below him, and then when that guy gets killed, there's somebody below him. And then there's somebody below him, and so on and so on. I mean, it never ends.
In his administration. El Mencho was a highly recognizable drug leader. He's been named as a terrorist. He was one of the most wanted men by the Department of Justice with a bounty of $50 million on his head. So removing him is going to be played by the US as, look at what Mexico does when we force him to play ball with us. And the narco blockades, as you described, that's fairly standard. When a leader of this magnitude is killed or captured, you do see a lot of violence in the area around his capture. What worries me is what happens a week, a month, a year down the line when the fallout of all this happens. From what we've seen,
like Pablo Escobar, his cartel is still exists. It's still going on. And it's still very lucrative.
From the US and Mexican discussions recently, that hasn't really factored in. It really has been all about the PR value of capturing or killing these very well-known kingpins.
Oh, no.
Chris Dolby there. Just to let you know, the US Department of State has issued a shelter-in-place warning for US citizens.
El Macho. El Macho runs the Milk-Bone cartel. Yes, he does.
In various states in Mexico, specifically Jalisco. The former U.S. ambassador to Mexico and the Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Lando, has described El Mencho on social media as one of the bloodiest and most ruthless drug kingpins. He added that his death was a great development for Mexico, the U.S., Latin America, and the world. And we'll keep you across that story.
Pablo is his right-hand dog. See what they're doing to you, Mach?
As it develops. Hello.
All right. It's great. All right. We'll check in with that later. El Mencho. Milk-Bone cartel.
Sunday. Hey guys, thanks so much.
All right. So this seems interesting. DNA challenges could take a year. Oh my God. And details on a 5-hour interrogation. Curious about that.
Thanks for checking out my show. I really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe here outside Nancy Guthrie's house. It's now day 22, which is hard to believe. It is Sunday. A couple of interesting developments for you today. First of all, I just interviewed the lawyer for Carlos. You guys remember Carlos was the man who was detained.
Brian looks like he's just sweating his bag off out there. Also, shit, hold on one second. I want to see. Hold on. Give me a second. I wanted to play this really quick because I was curious. What in the hell was going on?
I want to talk to these ladies here because these two ladies here were also searching. Where they came from.
Does JLR have people that were on film digging? Is there?
Tucson.
Oh, he didn't get them.
Hello. Hey, you want to come chit chat? I want to know about your guys' search because you guys were out.
I'm not saying they were JLR's people. I'm said, was he filming them?
I saw you guys earlier, and you guys went to another location. Come on in.
I'm not saying that he was directing them to do it. Are these the ladies that got in trouble here?
It's getting hot out here.
Oh yeah, no, it was something else. What's that? It was something else because you asked them that one in the morning. How you guys doing?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
Welcome to JLR Investigates.
Hello.
Hello. You guys came down from Phoenix area.
Yes.
Where'd you guys search? What's your name? Share with the audience your names.
Maggie.
Christy and
Maggie.
Maggie.
Where's that at?
Yeah, we searched on Orange Grove, like in a more like neighborhood area, which I don't feel like they would have went down there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just gonna get ready to search like around this area.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, just see if we pick up something, never know.
Oh,
They drop something.
okay.
Somebody comes out the car.
Yeah, we took her some flowers. So we
Took her
figured,
flowers?
Yeah.
Is this before or?
We figure it might as well.
Somebody comes out the car.
Yeah, we took her some flowers. So we
Took her
figured,
flowers?
Yeah.
Did you hear Jonathan? He got a little accent on that. That happens. I don't know why that happens, but I mean, I went to dinner one time with this like a bunch of people, and this guy, he was like white on rice, and the waiter was Mexican, and he was very Mexican, and he had a very thick accent, and he was like, "I'll take huevos rancheros," and I was like, "Dude, why don't you just say huevos rancheros?" "I will take huevos rancheros." Just like, geez, it was kind of embarrassing, but I don't know. I think it's just a phenomenon. I don't think that people do it on purpose.
Yeah, so we figure it might as well come and do a little search while we're still in the area.
You were on Orange Grove? I didn't see with the group, but that's where we were at.
It was Orange Grove, and just took a little picture of the map. Camino Toro, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So where? Okay, so do you know where they were when like the whole digging thing? Is it at the beginning? Is it at the end? Is this it right here? What the hell is that? Are these the ones? After these? Okay, is that? What's this? Right, I get it. There's no digging video, but I'm trying to find the people that were digging.
So she's going to get some gloves, she said. She's getting gloves. So they're taking it seriously enough for Pima County sheriffs to come out and get the backpack with the gloves. With gloves. The Tucson police officer lives in the neighborhood. He's like, "Can you do me a favor and not film the neighborhood? I live here." She got gloves. Oh, here comes another one.
Yeah, there seems to be an awful lot of like gloves and an awful lot of backpacks in the area. I don't know. Just like a lot of stuff. Just like trash everywhere. Yes, we Mexicans have green eyes and fair skin too. What does that mean? Well, I'm not sure that I'm not sure that I said that. I'm not sure that I said that. Did I? I'm acutely aware of what Mexican people look like. Seven. Okay, here we go. Thank you for the timestamp. I don't even know what the hell this is. That's the backpack. Okay, so watch her too. Jesus. All right, hold on. Hold on. That's not the same backpack. That's like a $40 backpack. The backpack that they're looking for is a $12 backpack. So these are just people that are out searching and they're finding trash. And they're calling the sheriff. Got it.
Who's the one that originally found it? Was it you?
It was a reporter that said something. He said, "Hey, there's a backpack," and I was like the next person to the notes.
Do you know where she's at, or did she leave already?
I know. I mean, I you can always say you never know, but I mean, you could pretty much know. That's just, it's somebody left a backpack.
No, it was one of the reporters that jumped right, because it was two reporters, myself, and then another guy with another walking stick. We were going through the tunnel, and then two of the reporters, they said, "Hey, can we jump in front of you?" I said, "Sure." There's not very much room, so they jumped in front of me, and I heard him say, "Hey, there's a backpack." And I said, "Oh yeah, there's a backpack," and I grabbed the backpack.
Okay, that's good. Let me go get some gloves, and then I'll pick it up. Okay. If anything, I'll give you information as well. Thank you. I'll start replacing the report.
So she's going to get some gloves. She said she's getting.
It's probably like somebody's backpack that's been like pissed on and stuff.
Gloves. So they're taking it seriously enough for Pima County sheriffs to come out and get the backpack with the gloves. With gloves.
What the hell was that guy?
The Tucson police officer lives in the neighborhood. He's like, "Can you do me a favor and not film the neighborhood? I live here."
%90 of homeless people carry backpacks. I'm just going to say that because, well, they just do because they have no home. I just want to get this. I just want to get this straight, so I'm not misunderstanding what exactly is going on here. They were searching for Nancy in a tunnel. They found a backpack and called the sheriff's department because they found a backpack because the guy in the video was wearing a backpack. Is that correct? Jesus. Unreal. I mean, seriously. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it. Yeah, neither do homeless people, but they're there. I mean, you could tell right away that's not going to work. I'll tell you what I'd have done. I would have collected it. And this is, I'm telling you, this is what a lot of you guys are going to get mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to tell you what I'd have. I'd have collected it. I'd have drove around the corner, found a dumpster, and threw it in there. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Might have even set it on fire. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I got enough. I got like a video of just her holding the bag. I got pictures of the top. Sure.
I think he fell a couple of times. No, and he went all the way up at. So this was here. He went up there a little bit. Except for please check on want to come this way?
Well, guess what? It's not evidence, so I don't care what anybody says. Every time somebody finds a backpack, they got to call the police. I mean, come on, let's be reasonable here. It's honestly, let's be reasonable. There are millions and millions of people with millions and millions of backpacks. There are backpacks everywhere. I say, wow, what a backpack. Look at that. There's a backpack there. There's a backpack there. Wow, we got to call the police for a backpack. No, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I don't care what you say.
Pima County Sheriffs are leaving.
I'm not wrong. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I'm 100% right. That backpack will mean dog shit tomorrow. They're going to go put it back where it was. They should have left it alone. I guarantee you it has nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with the case. Nothing. Why? Because things would actually get done and I wouldn't respond to stupid calls like that? I'm not going to do a poll because I don't care. Idiotic. Seriously, think about it. Think about it. If you are out searching and you see a backpack because you saw the guy on the screen on Nancy's porch that had a backpack, you are going to call the police because you found a backpack? It's not even the same backpack. I could see if it was the same brand. We know what brand it is. I wouldn't lose the poll, but I'm not. See, that's the other thing. I don't even want to take the time to put up a poll because it's a waste of time, just like they wasted this lady's time. Oh, look, I found a backpack. I'm not missing the point. I've never been clear on anything else in my life. Never. What's the point? What's the point? He found a backpack. Big friggin' deal. I could go out and find a backpack today. It'd be so easy. Oh, look, there's a backpack. Oh my God. Guess what happened in Arizona? That guy's got a backpack. Maybe somebody should call the cops on him. They look like they have backpacks. Maybe somebody should call on them.
Searching another tunnel.
There's another backpack. They have backpacks. Every single friggin' person out there has a backpack.
All the tunnels. There's so many tunnels along Orange Grove.
Oh man, that's a blue backpack. That could be something. I think that's a clue. There's another backpack. I'm sorry. It's to me, it's just idiotic. It doesn't. It's just it's a waste of time. Now, if you found a ski mask out there, I could see that. Like, oh shit, that looked like a ski mask. Well, since we're in Arizona and there's not a lot of skiing going on, that guy in the video had a ski mask. Oh, okay. Well, I could see something like that. A backpack.
We're in a tunnel.
Yeah, there's 3 tunnels. The only thing interesting down there was the center tunnel.
I remember you the other day with the overalls.
What's that?
I remember you the other day with the overalls.
Yes, sir. That's right.
You're the one that lives in South Tucson.
Yes, sir.
Your name's Jamie.
That's right.
Hello, Jamie. What brings you out here today?
He's looking for backpacks.
Just hoping that we can find something that'll help find Nancy.
Oh, really? They found a black glove? Great.
What have you been searching so far?
Well, so far we're covering this primary strip, trying to cover places that are most likely. We're looking at figuring someone traveling this way, most likely you would have thought something from a car.
What it is, it's somebody who took off into town or something, didn't want to take their backpack, thought when they come back, their backpack would be there, only to see a bunch of nosy ass people going through a tunnel going, I found a backpack, and then called the cops. So,
trying to do our
where's my backpack at?
best guessing where that would be and hopefully locating something.
Well, I didn't want to take it into town with me because it's heavy. So I will hide it here in the tunnel because nobody will bother it here. Goes back, oh, where's my friggin' backpack? Sheriff collected it. What am I going to do with all my Target bags inside of my backpack? I'm going to need those.
How tech savvy are you, JLR? Tell me what behind you, JLR.
Because I don't want to. Because I don't. Why do I have to? Why don't I? Because this is more fun.
Let me ask you a question, my man.
Yes, sir.
How do you drop a pin?
How you drop a ping?
A pin.
A pin?
Yeah.
Just go to Google,
Okay.
your location, and you'll see in the options there.
Yeah.
Do people really think it's reasonable that when they're searching, and I got no problem with anybody searching, that's fine. But do you really think it's reasonable that when somebody comes across a backpack with contents in it that obviously belongs to somebody that's not the same backpack as the one that's been seen in, it's not even the same backpack.
So where are we? Where we are?
Let's see.
To call the police, to call an emergency number 911 and say, hey, I'm out here looking for Nancy Guthrie. I found a backpack in a tunnel. I need you to come look at it. Is that reasonable? Am I that wrong?
Let's make sure.
And then you just save.
Just save?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they found something else. What is that? A jacket.
Jesus. They're finding trash.
That's the jacket from down there.
What in the heck? They found a jacket.
Yeah, people are living down there.
Yeah, that's why there's a backpack. come out like he's holding it with a stick, like there's fingerprints on it.
Found a jacket.
It's the middle of the day. Like they're living there. Leave them alone. Put the stick down, lady. Yeah, I'm going to play this over and over. As long as you're here, I'm going to play the backpack stuff. I'm missing the point. What's the point? Somebody found a backpack and called 911. Point.
They're down there in that tunnel.
Look, if I was JLR, I'd be filming it too. Stick with the good intentions. You know what they say about good intentions, right? You know what the road to hell is paved with? In this case, the road to a homeless tunnel is paved with homeless people's shit that they're turning over to the sheriff's department.
I'm staying on the road here. I'm not going down there.
Yeah, I wouldn't go down there either. Really? All right, what was your time stamp? Go with the back. I mean, come on. I'm not saying that they're. I'm not saying what they're doing isn't a nice thing, but like that's a wild thing. Come on, be honest. Let's just all be honest with each other. Let's just be honest. Come on. Yeah, they can. That's the shitty part. All right, 7-Eleven? My favorite.
I mean, that could be a solution for nobody coming in, right? Put a cone there. Thank you for your time, ma'am. Thank you for the tip.
Have a good day. Nice meeting you.
All right, we're going to share a tip. We received a tip, didn't we?
It was definitely some sort of tip.
You want to share it? What's the park? What's the park name? Saguaro
National Park.
Saguaro National Park. Woman came up, said her husband works at Saguaro National Park, and said the feds were out there numerous times last week.
She got a shovel.
I don't know.
Said her husband works at Saguaro.
Is it really though?
West, Saguaro National Park West. She said West.
I don't think it's really. I personally don't think it's helpful to call the police because you found a backpack, because the guy in the video was wearing a backpack.
Dude, they're back with shovels.
Oh my God! No. Is that true? Is that true? Or are you just saying that, Driftwood? Oh my God.
No está, ¿verdad? No está blando. No, está duro. Está duro. No, luego está muy verde. Pues. Ajá, se ve muy verde. Sí, luego se...
I don't want to go back. It's like it's too much.
Aquí no es parte de la casa todavía, pero si podemos sí, pero ahí nomás no está. No se mira, mi hija. Hay dos árboles y está una parte parejo. Pero no nos permiten entrar porque ahí está trabajando la policía. Se mira muy pareja. Una parte de
Miss McDonough said collect everything. Well, I disagree with him there, but
pues sí.
I'm not gonna collect a homeless guy's backpack.
Ahí donde está caído ese árbol, ¿qué se ve? No, está. ¿No? Ah. Sí.
He's being diplomatic. He's being like a nice person. I'm just telling you that it's stupid.
Para allá sería bueno pasar, pero pues no se puede. Sí, por allá, aunque sea así un poquito nomás hacia adentro, donde no haya mucho. Ajá. Donde no haya. Pero allá no nos van a permitir. No, fue lo primero que me dijeron, que alrededor de la casa, que adentro de la casa no, aquí adentro del patio de la casa.
Gracias.
De nada.
Did you hear about El Mencho?
Sorry. A ver, ¿tú lo entiendes? Porque yo no.
El Mencho? You know who that is?
He's asking about the drug cartel.
Ah, parece que lo
cartel leader. He died
today or
today.
Yesterday? Today. Wow.
Mexico is big things are going in Mexico because of El Mencho died.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, I want to tell you guys because I know El Mencho is bad in Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he, but in Mexico, they saying something, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, curfew.
Mm-hmm.
Curfew, 5 p.m. curfew.
That's it.
Like they're nice people. I'm not saying that. I truly think that they have the best of intentions, but it's not. I don't even think that they're filming this. I think they're just doing it. I don't think are they filming? I mean, people are filming them.
Aquella que estaba ya no era.
Yeah, he was telling them that they need to go home because El Timu got killed.
Si la puedes levantar, a ver, como que la levantas, a ver si acaso se levanta. ¿Se hundió? A ver. Pero está muy verde, está muy flojo, mira. Sí. Está duro. Ajá. ¿Qué están haciendo ahorita? Tratando de mirar que si no hay algún lugar que estuviera muy blanda la tierra, para mirar si hubiera alguien ahí. Pero también nosotros revisamos las alcantarillas.
A ver si funciona
Para ver.
así en este tipo de terreno.
Y después van a ir al otro lugar. Sí, más ahorita que ya nos desocupemos un poquito, vamos a ver.
I'm not trying to laugh because it's really sad. Like, but did you hear what that guy just said?
Nos desocupemos un poquito, vamos a ver.
This would be amazing.
It would be amazing if Nancy was buried right here.
What would be? It would be amazing if Nancy was buried here.
I mean, I don't think it would be amazing.
But what I mean is amazing is that she be found, but it's not amazing that she's buried. You get what I'm saying? I don't mean to say it like that, but
No se
it'd be
levanta la
crazy.
tapadera. No,
I mean, crazy is a better word, but
Took these international
no, sí. No se ve nada. Pero está floja una tapadera de otra tapadera ahí con forma. Está floja.
¿Qué significa si está floja?
Que pudiera haber sido que avienten algo, avientan el cuerpo trozado. Entonces, hay muchas.
I know. It was funny because right before we went on the air, he was like, I hope that doesn't happen, and then it happened, and we were just dying laughing, man. It was so funny.
Right there is where she thought this was a hot spot. But this area could be a disturbed area because they have to always use this area for
Move the camera.
now this is when I said they go 1 foot. This would be their 3 foot thing. And let's see if we smell it. Let's see if we smell it. They smelled it just
Oh my god.
like I said, see? And this is where they smell it. This is exactly how I said. Let's go 1 foot and then a 3 foot. That's the 3 foot one. And you know exactly what to look for. They're smelling for decomposition. Yeah, yeah. They explained this to me yesterday that this is their process. They poke around on an area that looks disturbed. So this is what I think they think is disturbed. And I think it's disturbed because of the utility. Okay, that's
We don't know.
Right. Well, we don't know. It's not what they're saying, but so then they put it in 1 foot, and then if they see something, then they do 3 feet, and then they smell it.
What is that called right there? That thing.
It's just called a poker, like
poker.
a metal poker. I asked, I had a translator yesterday, and I asked what it's called, and they said it's a metal utility poker.
And they have found people.
Yes, they have 1.6 followers on Facebook. I can send you. I have all their information because I Facebook before this, so they follow me.
They're the bloodhounds.
Yeah. Their work is remarkable. They should be living here.
Now we got the dog or something. All the bloodhounds. The bloodhounds.
Like it is. You know exactly what
Why does she hold it up and make her sniff it just in case it smells like dog shit? She's like, I'm not sniffing it. You do it. Oh man.
They're smelling for decay. Decomposition. Yeah, they explained this to me yesterday about this is their process. They poke around on an area that looks disturbed. So this is what I think they do. I think it's disturbed because of the utilities.
Oh,
okay. That's
we don't know that.
I mean, that was unbelievable.
Source.
They do it again? She sniff it again?
They do? They maybe one.
Josh. She is the lady brought from Mexico. She's psychic tracker, and she sniffs the earth for information. Eric, I'm not making fun of JLR. He's just filming it. I'm just fascinated by what these women are doing. I just don't see how this is helpful. I just don't see how it's helpful. It has nothing to do with JLR. He's not telling anybody to do anything. He's just filming it.
We should go in the backyard. Think they could break the case?
Hired by Guthrie. Over here and see.
I need shade. I need shade.
They're not allowed to do it.
Seeking shade behind your car.
Ajá, sí. Como que se mira volteada la tierra, por ahí.
But I don't know, Eric. I don't think anybody called them in. I think they called themselves in. They said they were working for Savannah. I mean,
I'm right under you with the umbrella.
It's hot out here.
Well, my phone already overheated.
Did it see?
One time.
I'm always under the impression. Oh, here they go. I like when they do the sniff.
he said, "I like when they do this." Me too. Actually, I think it's funny.
Now that they hear, I'm
Josh, the family called for their assistance. Look into what they do. I could see what they're doing. They're sniffing poking sticks. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous.
I'm just put the starting back in the car, guys.
Everyone likes rain.
Yeah. Go put the starting back in the car.
I'm missing people by poking sticks in the ground and sniffing them. Come on.
Jayla, I got that battery thing is unbelievable.
Works, doesn't it?
Oh my
I can't believe there are actually
best one, isn't it?
That buy this shit.
She's digging. Do we know, did this neighbor give them permission?
I have no idea.
Well, if they haven't, then that means we could go.
I'm not going on my property.
I want to catch you. I don't mean to go in front of you, but I want to catch this.
As of yesterday, I know the back of the phone. How are you?
I mean, I have trouble believing that there are people that are watching this and think that this is a viable search going on, that this is something that's going to turn up something, or that what they're doing is normal. And it's just, I mean, come on. Come on. Ugh. You're not even trying to be mean. I swear. I promise you I'm not. But I mean, this is so ridiculous and asinine. And the fact there are people that cheer this shit on is so weird. Yeah, I don't care if you mention him. We're watching his video. And I would be shocked. I hear people saying that the family hired them. I would be friggin' shocked if that were true.
Just looking like in a tree.
Of course it's not true.
Oh, going right up. I'm not going. I'm staying on the road.
Even JLR knows not to go there.
We're smelling rocks.
I said was they told JLR on camera that they were working for Savannah. I mean, they think that they're working for her, but they're not.
I'm staying right on the road, folks. I'm on the road. Sheriff just told him to get off the property. Shouldn't be there. Sheriff just yelled over him.
Yeah.
Sheriff deputy just told him to get off. Deputy over there says, I'm not sure you're allowed to be on that property. Just telling him to get off the property.
Are you the homeowner for the property?
It's a deputy. That's the cop.
Wait, is that
Yeah.
the cameraman right there?
That's law enforcement.
Is that the cameraman?
Ok. Sí, lo que hablo con ustedes que están comentando que pueden trabajar y que pueden ir a tocar las casas y que si dan permiso en las casas tienen su derecho de entrar a buscar. No está restringiendo a ninguna parte que no pueden entrar por en la mañana.
I mean, this makes the backpack people look sane.
Hubo muchos grupos que salieron a buscar y querían así que se comunicar con ustedes para que puedan juntar todos los grupos para hacer una búsqueda grande. Ustedes estarían dispuestos a trabajar con otro equipo.
They have a system. I'll give them this. They have a system. One pokes, one sniffs. I think the person who's the poker has the better end of the deal.
Yeah, I was a deputy.
Siento sente. Oh, you're the smeller.
That's why I stay on the road.
You didn't. you didn't see the sniffing? You didn't see the sniffing of the pole? You didn't see it? Oh my God. I have to go back because I just want to. I want to see it again. Hold on. That's the best part of the video. Like, this is insane. Okay, let's.
Everyone likes rain.
That's when they were smelling the rocks. This is what- Yeah, can I go?
About elemental.
Crazy thing. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
Now this is when I said they go 1 foot. This should be the 3-foot thing. And let's see if they smell it. Let's see if they smell it. They smelled it just like I said. See? And this is where they smell it. Remember, this is exactly how I said. Let's go 1 foot and then a 3-foot. That's the 3-foot one. You know exactly what you're looking for. Foot, 3-foot.
Look, I don't care if you're leaving. I honestly, like, what is your guys' problem? You don't want to watch the show, just leave. Oh, you crybabies. I'm out. This is so childish. You know what's childish? Sticking a pole in the ground and sniffing it.
Porque a veces ahí se.
Con las puras aguas, con el borde del agua.
Sí. Entonces vamos a ir a
Honestly, if there are anybody that just wants to say like they're out, I'm just gonna ban you because I don't care. I really don't.
mirar eso y luego.
If you need that much attention in your life,
Ya, yo te, agarras algo.
I don't want you.
Por si acaso encontramos algo, te aviso.
Why are they smelling it? They're smelling it for dead bodies.
Número de usted a la señora que estaba encargada esta mañana.
Claro que sí.
So, ellos quieren hablar con ustedes.
Ajá,
y a
claro que
veces
sí.
se mete el grupo de el
SOS, ya anda aquí, ella.
¿Y anda aquí no?
No sé.
No,
Porque yo hablé con ella, pero me dijo que no, que estaba esperando que el FBI se comunicara. Y eso era lo que estaba esperando. Ella no sé. Yo con el que he estado en comunicación es con los capellanes del desierto.
Issues them trespassing violations.
Trespassing signs.
They could see.
I seen it earlier. Water running and smell the water to see if the body
No, nosotros ya tenemos.
dumping wells and that's supposed to. But this thing here, the last well they uncovered with.
Even if you're joking about it, there's no way for me to tell. So
They want the story to break, but they don't want.
¿Cuál era su nombre? Raquel Sofía Navarro.
no, don't announce anything. Just no announcements.
Usted vino desde México para ayudar. She's out patrolling. She's the one that told him to get off the yard. But if they got permission, they got permission. But that's the neighbor's yard. I don't know. Camino Escalante.
live out here. Nancy Guthrie's home. JLR investigates. Oh, get in there in the cool sun for a second. Cool shade. Get off my lawn.
I mean, you know, I shouldn't be surprised that there are actually people that are defending this. I just didn't think they would come to my channel. It's not real. It's stupid. Like there's no why do I even need to be nice about it, honestly?
Staying in the shade for a minute, folks. So the woman said that her husband cleans park ranger cabins, and feds were there numerous times last week. What's the name? How do you pronounce the name of the park? Saguaro. Well, the sheriff didn't know what. Well, the sheriff didn't know what. Deputy didn't know if they were allowed in there or not. She's like, "Are you allowed in there? If you're not allowed in there, you better leave. You're not supposed to be in there."
So what?
Here's the deal, though. In all honesty, it's only trespass after you're told to leave, as far as an arrest.
Yeah.
Anyone can actually walk on anyone's property per se. You have to be like told.
Unless there's a no trespassing
Unless
sign.
there's a no trespassing sign, but that's not sufficient.
There's a guy on Instagram who runs full speed into stuff, and he's got like 3 million followers. So who gives a shit?
Because some people are blind.
Runs full speed into like stop signs. Full speed. Runs this, and he runs fast. He's a very fast runner. He's got millions.
Or some people can't read or are illiterate.
Yeah.
It has to be a verbal. It has to be somebody saying literally, "Hey, don't be here."
And they have to be a warning too.
And there's a warning.
He goes head first into him. Head first. Doesn't let up, nothing. He's half brain dead. People love watching him.
There's a warning. You get a trespass warning. So pick.
Did you know there's a felony trespassing?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, no, it can escalate if you go back.
Yeah, if you go back.
One of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
I've heard that on court.
But usually is you walk on a property or walk somebody's front door, homeowner comes out, they can call the police will come, homeowner says, "I don't want them back." They give you a warning, they take your information, tell you if you come back on, you get arrested. But you get that first warning.
And then the judge can actually ban you for forever for property.
So, I mean, I'm not saying, but technically, if you were...
And I can already see it. Josh, what are you doing? I'm not poking sticks in the ground and sniffing it.
To walk along...
I would never do that.
The property around here, they're just going to tell you to kick rocks and take your information down. I would assume, but I don't know if they'd go hardcore and just say, you're arrested, you know better.
I am not going to pander to people that think that this is a valuable search effort. It's just not. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
And I'm not willing to argue with anybody about it either.
The situation might be a little different if somebody like walks up to the patio. I could see them maybe
I'd
be pissed.
Yeah, you shouldn't be on a patio.
But maybe
You shouldn't be doing it, period, but yeah.
with the first day or the second day, was it? They were on the patio. Third day, got the blood pictures.
I'm not pissed off.
Would we have even gotten those if they didn't get that?
Exactly. Well, I mean, what's his name? Luke Daly. I knocked on his door. The morning after the raid, I went and knocked on his door.
Is that the guy?
I'm probably
that's
gonna.
been in Jordan, I heard since 2019.
No. A guy around the corner. The dude's house that they raided. I went to his house. I went and knocked on the door. I was like, hello. Any comment? Because he had like super surveillance all over the place with ring cameras and everywhere. So I know they're recording, but I'm going to cover my butt. I have the right to knock on somebody's door and ask, hey, you got a comment?
What was it?
At the time, there was no trust. There was no trespassing signs. But
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like a dowsing rod. This is so childish. Yeah, I'm the one poking the sticks in the ground and sniffing them. Okay. 9 minutes and 58 seconds or 9 hours. Got it. I wasn't talking to you. I really was. I wasn't talking about it, I promise. And I didn't call you a Karen. I don't use that word. I know a lot of nice Karens. It is a load of it's ridiculous.
right down the road on Campbell.
They have 700,000 subscribers on Facebook. Whoop-dee-doo.
It's just so weird. Who are you people and what are you doing here? This is our house. What are you doing?
It's a public road.
Filming.
It's a public road.
What are you filming?
We're not filming your house. And we're not filming your house. We're walking.
Yeah, who are you and where are you from?
Who are you and where are you from?
I live here. This is my street.
But we're
What
not-
the hell are you doing?
We're not involved with your house.
Well, then get the hell out of here.
We're walking.
Yeah, well,
You're the
keep
one with the
walking.
vehicle now. You can get in your
You're
car.
filming, and
All
you
due
have no
respect.
right to film me. You have no right to publish any of this.
You
Get
came out
the
on
hell
Of course they do. Of course.
You came out of the camera. You can hop in your car and go into your house. No one's bothering you.
You can leave.
We were
Keep
walking.
walking.
When we're done with
Keep
what we're
walking.
doing,
Keep
we'll
walking.
leave. We will
But
keep
you're
walking.
filming our property. You have no right
No
to
one's
do
filming
that.
your property.
You
We're not
don't
filming
get-
houses.
Yes, you were. You were filming right up
No.
at the house.
We were filming you until you walked up here. We started filming you once you walked up here. So you put yourself on here. You
And
see the
you have
camera?
no right to use that footage. For anything, you have no right to use the footage of our house.
You walked into our camera. Well, the sheriff
You
seems
have
to
no
let
right
us.
to be here.
We do.
Get the hell out.
You can go back in your car and
I'm
leave.
sick of this media
Have a good
circus
day, man.
bullshit.
I can see why this lady's upset though. I mean, it would get so old.
Have a good day, man.
Get
God
the
bless.
hell out of our.
God bless. Maybe tell your sheriff to do a better job and we wouldn't have to be here. They're media, so they think they have the right to do any goddamn thing they want. Bring Nancy home. Pieces of shit. Welcome to America. Bring Nancy home. Wow. Oh, yay! Look how you drive.
I think that was a little uncalled for. I'd stay silent. I mean, we're literally just walking down the street. I'm talking. Literally just walking down the street. And she just runs up and parks and says,
Their nerves are fried, you know.
we start filming her house, and I was literally interviewing two people walking up the street, and she just jumps up ahead, pulls out, and starts screaming. That's pretty crazy. That was the only one, like, an encounter that was like crazy.
Well, we had that one. It was in the first week, I remember, and she was pointing at one.
Which one we're at? Oh, here?
Yeah, she walked up on the crime scene, remember?
Oh, yeah, that one too. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty crazy. I'll send you the video on X. Thank you. I saw you covered her face with like a bunch of like mad emoji face. You know, I'm not gonna say she was a Karen, but I mean, that was pretty Karen-ish.
Yeah, but I mean, look, she's kind of got. I don't know. I see why she's pissed, but doing that's not gonna do anything. Maybe she'll feel better about it. I don't know.
It's like, oh, I was on that level.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Like it's like cutting. Oh my God, you don't understand this. Like tarp is like.
Yeah, I kind of.
So much better, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2. Do you want me to do the stick? Yeah, let's just do the stick. Mine's the same way. My mom is so finicky. Really? Mine yesterday like screwed me over.
I don't like when somebody parks out in front of my house for like more than 20 minutes that I don't know. Like, what's this person doing out here?
We're sitting here for a minute. 5:22 as the sun starts going down. Continuing to put coverage of Nancy, keeping public awareness to Nancy's situation.
Okay.
Like looking out the curtains and shit, going, "What is that? Who's that out there? What is that? What are you doing?" And sometimes I'll just go out there and stand around, just, "Hey, what's up?" Pretend like I'm smoking a cigarette, no cigarette, and just act all crazy, and they'll leave. Have my nephew come out there and hold his breath till he turns red in the face.
City's leaving more.
Oh, he is?
He's going to cover the.
Of course. I get why people are out there, but, you know. I mean, I would get pissed off. I'd be annoyed too. All right, let's go ditch this crazy shit. Now that we got all the Karens out of the chat, I'm just kidding. All the Karens. Come on, guys. That's stupid.
It's been a couple of weeks now in Rio Rico. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. I really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe here outside Nancy Guthrie's house. It's now day 22, which is hard to believe. It is Sunday. A couple of interesting developments for you today. First of all, I just interviewed the lawyer for Carlos. You guys remember Carlos was the man who was detained. It's been a couple of weeks now in Rio Rico near the Mexico border when there was that SWAT raid at his house and the search warrant, and it was believed that he may be connected to the Nancy Guthrie case. that didn't pan out. But I now got like all the details on what actually went down. I mean, he was kept in a car handcuffed for 6 to 7 hours, questioned extensively. A lot that I didn't know. I'm now learning about what went on behind the scenes and what they may have thought was connecting him back to the Nancy Guthrie case. So I'm going to have the full interview with his lawyer coming up in this episode, which was really interesting. Also, the volunteer search groups have been out today, and it's emotional. I mean, some of them, one woman got emotional talking to us, saying that she feels a connection to Nancy Guthrie, thinks of her own mom, and the terrain is rough out here. It's hot today. They were searching in tunnels, they were searching in canyons, and they actually found a backpack which didn't seem to fit the description of the suspect's backpack, but still the sheriff's office came out and got it. So I talked to some of them. You're going to hear from them in this episode. I'm going to take you along on some of their searches. I didn't realize there's like these tunnels, these drainage tunnels out here, which we went into, which I'll show you. And then I'll have the latest update with the Pima County Sheriff's Office. The sheriff did an interview, and apparently there are some challenges, that's what they're calling them, with testing the DNA at the private lab in Florida.
I'm so sick of that.
Not good news. He said it could take weeks, a month, and then he even said a year, which was sort of unsettling to hear Sheriff Nano say that. So I'm going to get into all the latest details, day 22 in Arizona, this episode of Brian Enton Investigates. All right, hey guys, so there's kind of a lot to get to in this episode with the latest developments in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. First of all, there were no formal updates from the Pima County Sheriff this weekend, but he did do an interview with NBC News. And I'm always kind of particularly interested when he talks to NBC because, of course, NBC is where Savannah Guthrie works. So I have kind of gotten the sense that they've gotten, not special treatment, but it seems like they're getting more one-on-one interviews. So anyway, he did an interview with NBC News and he spoke specifically about the DNA. Because he said a couple of things with the DNA, but he said that I wrote some of that down on what some of what he said. He said the lab says there are challenges with the DNA. And remember, the lab that the sheriff's office here is using is a lab in Florida. There was some drama with the FBI initially because the FBI wanted to send certain items to Quantico. The sheriff decided to send everything to this lab in Florida because he said it was just better to have everything in one place. And this is the lab that they have a contract with and that they're used to using. And now he's saying that the lab says that there are challenges with the DNA. And what he said is some of it will resolve itself in a matter of weeks, months, or maybe a year, which I found to be kind of discouraging that he was said maybe a year or even months.
A year.
But apparently there are.
Is he talking about the genealogy portion of it or just like to get the results back?
I've also heard him use the word snags with the DNA. And he said that the DNA samples are mixed. That's the word he used, mixed, that they contain DNA from more than one person, and that is the reason that they are having these challenges. But again, when he said that it could maybe take a year, that just didn't sound good. Hopefully that's not actually the case. I texted CC Moore, who is a DNA expert who I know, who I've interviewed on my show before, just to see what she thought. I said, hey, CC, I'm not sure if you saw, but the sheriff did an interview and said there are challenges with the DNA. He said some of it will resolve itself in a matter of weeks, months, or maybe a year. The DNA samples are mixed. Do you think this is a big issue? And she wrote me back. I just texted her. She said, yes, it could be. If it was a straightforward mixture, it would not delay things much at all. So it sounds like it may not be a straightforward mixture. So that's not good news.
Donna says, I'm just sick of all the Wallies and their conspiracies. I will listen to Chris and company. Yeah, that happened a lot during the Kylie Rodney case, and a lot of cases, to be honest with you. Conspiracy theories abound. It happens. Especially when there's no like quick resolution, I guess. And even when there is, like the Brian Koberger stuff still going on. Like people are still talking about that situation.
Remember, there's DNA that was found inside Nancy Guthrie's
People still blame the roommates, or that the roommates were involved, or shit like that.
house, which I've always thought seemed like one of the most promising pieces of evidence, because they said it's DNA that didn't connect back to Nancy Guthrie or anyone in her immediate circle. So now they're trying the genetic genealogy, which is where they try to test it, which apparently they're having issues, but they try to test the DNA in these genealogy databases.
But why is it a conspiracy? Because it hasn't been solved? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand.
To see if they can connect it back to anyone close to the suspect. So we'll see how that pans out. But again, that didn't sound like good news there, that they're having issues. He also said that there are no names that they're looking into right now, no specific names, no suspect names, which is a little contrary to some of my reporting, because you guys remember we went to the gun shops and they told us that they had a list, that the FBI showed up with a list of 40 names and 40 photos, and was showing gun shop employees.
But sometimes things don't get solved. Sometimes they don't get figured out. That doesn't make it a conspiracy. And yeah.
And the owner, the 40 names, the 40 photos, to see if any of those people had been inside the gun shop or bought a gun, or if they saw them at all. So I know they had some kind of list, but the sheriff is now saying that there are no names that they're looking into. He said, in terms of leads, I think that it is still growing. I think we are getting closer to identifying some of the items on top of the backpack. Maybe the shoes, pants, shirt, jacket. Remember, the backpack is the only item.
Look at him back there. Look at him.
Maybe the shoes, pants, shirt.
Recognize that hoodie anywhere.
Jacket. Remember, the backpack is the only item in the suspect photos from Nancy's front door Google Nest camera. The backpack is the only item that they were able to fully identify and say for sure that the suspect bought at Walmart. And we know that FBI agents were working with Walmart to try and figure out who's bought a backpack like that in, the recent time frame, and they can actually go back through sales records and search back that way. So he says that now they are getting closer to identifying also the shoes, pants, shirt, and jacket, which would be big too, because then they could go into sales databases and also try to find where those items were purchased. And those may not have been purchased at Walmart, I'm told. The sheriff has actually said that. The backpack, they know, came from Walmart. The other items they believe were also sold.
Here's the thing. There are plenty of, I'll say this. I don't mean to be like shitty to people or anything like that, but there are plenty of channels that will entertain the conspiracy talk. Plenty of them. I'm just not into it. So that's all I'm saying. It's not, but there are plenty of other channels that like that kind of stuff. I'm against a lot of it because I think a lot of it is just hooey. And I think a lot of it is people's wild imaginations. I think that it's not conducive. And, I'm not saying that there aren't some things that are strange. This case is extremely strange, but I don't believe the Epstein bullshit. I don't believe that poking a stick in the ground and sniffing it is going to find Nancy. I just don't believe it.
Other retailers too, so it may take them more time to get to all of that. Also, and I really want to get to my interview with Carlos's lawyer here in a second, the guy who was detained in Puerto Rico. But first, let me tell you about this volunteer search group that was out and about. There were
people in here giving me shit because I thought that it was ridiculous that there were people poking and prodding the side of the road or finding a backpack in a tunnel where homeless people live and calling the FBI or the sheriff's department. I'm just telling you, I think it's ridiculous.
They all met up this morning early, 8 a.m., and they've been searching the area around Nancy Guthrie's home. The terrain is rough here. I mean, I don't know if I've sort of explained that enough. But, you know, there's a ton of cactuses. It's hot today. And if you're in the shade like I am right now, it doesn't feel too bad. But right when you get in the sun today, it's hot. You get a sunburn really easily. And there's just a lot of like ravines and crevices and holes, and it's rough out here. So the search party, the volunteer search party met up and they started searching. We followed them. They went through tunnels. There's these drainage tunnels that they went through. They went all over the area. It was actually, it was impressive.
See, what they're doing is fine. I think they're searching. That I'm supportive of that. I promise you. I really, really am. I have no problem with that. But she's got a backpack, black one.
And at one point they found a backpack, which a lot of people were tweeting about. The backpack did not match the backpack that the suspect had in the photo, but nonetheless, you know, they still called the sheriff's office. They knew not to touch anything. They were sort of like holding a stick to carry the backpack. And the sheriff's office came out and took the backpack. So we'll see if that pans out into anything.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now, it's not going to pan out to anything.
Keep in mind, there are a lot of homeless people in some of these areas, especially down in the tunnels. So some of these items probably belong to homeless people. I've kind of thought that all along. I thought the same thing with a lot of the black gloves that have been found. I just haven't put a lot of weight into a lot of that, but you never know. And every little bit helps. And one of the women that we spoke to who was searching talked about how she just felt this connection to Nancy Guthrie because, you know, Nancy was around the same age as her mom. And I've heard that from a lot of people, and I felt that myself. I mean, some people think that this case has only been so, you know, popular, I guess is the right word, or just people are so interested in this case because of Savannah Guthrie and the celebrity element. But I think it's also maybe equally because people relate to Nancy Guthrie. She just seems like everybody's mom or grandma. And, you know, for those of us with parents who are getting older, you're always kind of worried about them and worried about people coming in the house and helpers, and just, you know, you start to worry more. And for me, I think that's why I felt connected to this case.
I'm actually getting a new hiking backpack, but I'm going to make sure to get one that's not black, that doesn't have any reflectives on it, in case I set it down somewhere, somebody finds it, calls the friggin' FBI on me.
And I think that's why a lot of other people felt connected, including this one volunteer searcher who we met today. Take a look at this.
My mother died many years ago, and she would be around Nancy's age now. And if this was her, I would want people to do what they could to help me find my mom. You know what? I don't know. We can't change the past. We can only do what we can today. So the minute I heard that something had been organized, I was going to show up. So here we are. I didn't know him 3 hours ago, but we've teamed up on this. So, and I mean, I've spent majority of my life in Tucson, and you don't realize how vast it is in terms of not only distance, but the terrain. Like something can look flat and it's got this slight little incline. So it's not only distance, but elevation and all of the things.
So I've been away from home for a while for work, and one of the things I miss so much are my Factor meals. They make it so much easier to eat better, and Factor is a sponsor of today's video. Factor doesn't just ask you to meal prep because they've done the work for you, and it's real food. Factor's made by chefs and designed by dietitians, and it comes right to your door. Like the company valid for new Factor healthier episode incogni. Identity theft, it is such a big problem. It actually just happened to my dad recently, and it was just awful for him. He had to close so many accounts. It took a long time to resolve. I mean, it literally
Me triggered by
it
what?
took like months. And the truth is, we're madly. Look at this. My dashboard, it already shows
Triggered badly.
Hundreds of privacy agents will take care of
You can take your gas lighter and shove it up your ass.
the rest for you. So to
because I wasn't triggered badly.
check it all out, go to incogni.com/Brian Enton and use code Brian Enton for 60% off Incogni Market. So we're on day 22 now, and that we're just sort of seeing this for the first time. I think that's partly because the sheriff has sort of emphasized from the beginning that, you know, this was a crime, and that, you know, we haven't seen big searches. I mean, it's just not something that we've seen as part of this investigation. Other cases I've covered, you know, you'll see big grid searches that happen. You'll see helicopters up every single day. You'll see dogs constantly. We just haven't seen that in this case, which makes me wonder what they know behind the scenes that they're not telling us. You know, why haven't they had big search parties? And even with this volunteer search group, they almost in a sense discouraged it. The sheriff's office put out a statement saying, you know, not to interfere with law enforcement, that you need permits to search in certain areas. They warned people about going on private property, which is all fair, you know, but it's just made me wonder.
Me too, honestly.
The sheriff hasn't emphasized the need to search in a long time, which just makes me wonder what they may know behind the scenes.
That's sort of what I'm wondering too, because it does seem like searching is kind of on the back burner.
They know nothing, but anyway, we'll see if these volunteer searchers come back out again. But they seem to cover, you know, a lot of ground considering there weren't a ton of them today. Okay, let me get to Carlos now. You guys remember I raced out to Rio Rico. It's been a couple of weeks now when there was the first SWAT raid. You know, there's been two. There was the one, gosh, I'm losing track of my days, but the one that was just 2 miles from here. That was the more recent one, which we still don't know all the details of. We know there were no arrests in that one, but the first one was in Rio Rico, which was that town right near the border where FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Office and the SWAT team, they were all out there. They pulled a man over named Carlos, who was with his wife and child, and they detained him. And I'm learning more details now. They detained him for 7 hours, 6 to 7 hours, his lawyer's telling me, while they interrogated him.
Wow.
And they seemed to have some information that they thought was connecting him back to the Nancy Guthrie case. Turns out it doesn't seem he was connected to the case. So I had a lot of questions about why Carlos? Why did they, you know, they had a search warrant, they busted inside his house. They still have his phone, I learned. So I got some new information from his lawyer. He's now got a lawyer because wants his name cleared, which still hasn't officially been cleared. But I spoke with his lawyer. I wanted you guys to hear this conversation. So you represent Carlos?
Correct. And I also represent his in-laws, his family.
Okay. Yeah, we met them when we were out there the night of the you know, the bust, I guess you could call it, or the raid. So first of all, how is he doing? I mean, I've seen him do some interviews. He's maintained that he has nothing to do with anything to do with Nancy Guthrie, right?
Oh, he's an innocent man. He's absolutely an innocent man. It's really clear to me that he had nothing to do with it, and this was, you know, some kind of mistake. And
Well, you're right. I mean, they get upset if you have any suspicion of family, but they're all for rod poking and sniffing.
we'll have to get to the bottom of what the mistake was, who jumped the gun and why. But you know, right now, Carlos, you know, I think he's doing a little bit better. I think he's been able to see some of the response to his interview last week. And, you know, but it's been very hard on the family. It's been very hard on him. And, you know, to be thrown into the limelight, to have this kind of shadow cast on him, implying that he's somehow involved in the most notorious crime that anyone can think about right now. So
how did it go down? Because when we got there, you know, they had his road closed off where he lives, and we heard it was a traffic stop down the street, but did they just pull him over? I don't know if you can share some detail on how it actually happened.
So my understanding is that Carlos noticed that he was being followed by a marked police vehicle from Marana, which is a community north of Tucson.
Thank you.
And that he was
Thank you very much.
driving back to the family house, sees this marked vehicle following him, and he stops to try to talk to them and find out, you know, why are you following me? What's going on? When he does that,
the way that I understand it, Pam, is that if they obtained a warrant through, you know, reasonable means, and they have reasonable suspicion, you know, I mean, he can sue, but it may not, the law may not be on his side. But it's really dependent on
multiple police.
It's just dependent on a lot of things.
Police officers jump out, pointing guns, demanding that everybody get out of the vehicle. And from that point forward, they have Carlos arrested. They have him in the back of a Marana car, and then later a Pima County Sheriff's Office car. And then they conduct a raid on the family house.
Was he handcuffed?
Yes.
Okay. And did they say why initially?
No.
So he goes in the back of the car, and then what happened to him next?
So he was held in the back of that car for somewhere between 5 and 7 hours. And I should say in the back of 2 different cars. He was first in a Marana car and then moved to a Pima County Sheriff's Office car. And all of those law enforcement agencies in Southern Arizona.
What they'll do, they're going to argue that they violated his rights. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know. I mean,
Arizona, they work together often. They have very,
who knows if they did or not. It'll be interesting.
Sorry, my ring light just fell. They have various task force that they operate cooperatively, so it can sometimes be hard to tell who's running the show. But he spent a total of somewhere between 5 and 7 hours in the back of police vehicles, fully handcuffed, separated from his family, and being questioned by Pima County personnel and most likely the FBI.
So they questioned him while he was in the car still?
Correct.
Okay. And then was he just let go after 7 hours in the car?
Yeah.
And that,
absolutely.
Wow. Okay. And so,
yeah. The other thing I was going to say is they also questioned his family. They questioned his wife. They questioned his mother-in-law, and they arrested and detained, other members of his family.
So while he's in the car, what happened at the house?
What happened at the house is they did a forced entry into the house, breaking doors, terrifying the occupants, terrifying Carlos's family, and damaging property.
Did they take anything?
Our understanding is that the only item that they took is Carlos's telephone, his cell phone.
And was he able to get that back?
No, not yet. We've contacted Pima County Sheriff's Office and requested it. We've also contacted the FBI and requested that it be returned. Obviously, we've also put in records requests and evidence preservation letters.
Do you know if it was because the second?
That's kind of weird that they've kept his phone, because from what I understand, that they can just mirror those things pretty easily.
Raid that we went to, the one closer to Nancy's house, was they confirmed was a federal search warrant. Was this also a federal search warrant? Do you know?
It was signed by a state judge. Now, that doesn't mean that when you say federal search warrant, what I interpret that to mean is
signed by a federal judge or not. It's an easy question.
What kind of judge issued it?
Right.
This one was issued by a state court judge, and it was directed to state law enforcement actors. That doesn't mean that federal agents were not involved in the affidavit that's used to get the search warrant. But the problem we have right now is we don't have the affidavit. And to kind of explain what that is, a search warrant is an order from a judge saying there's probable cause for a search and, describing what person, places, things can be searched. Under the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution, in order to get a search warrant, you need to put forward probable cause to a neutral magistrate and have that magistrate issue it. And that requires presenting some sort of evidence. The search warrant affidavit for this search warrant was issued by the Pima County Superior Court, and it is sealed. We sent an investigator to go and get it, and we're told that it was sealed. So one of our next steps will be to try to get that search warrant unsealed so that we can see what the purported basis for any of this was.
Do you have any idea? I mean, based on what they were asking Carlos, have you been able to sort of piece together why they thought he was involved?
I don't think they had any reason to think he was involved. My belief is that it's most like this is his arrest, his unlawful detention, the search of his residence, his property, the seizure of his property, probably all goes to some electronic evidence that's really dubious. Something like cell phone pings, something like flock cameras. He's a delivery driver. I don't know that he was ever even in that area. And I think it's widely known by law enforcement that things like cell phone pings are incredibly inaccurate. They're very dependent on a lot of factors. And so I suspect that it's probably some combination of that and possibly some other sort of bizarre government triangulation, maybe using some kind of, surveillance database type software like Palantir.
Robbins in the house says they did not have a warrant. The homeowner asked them to see it many times and they were not shown a warrant. But their lawyer just said that they did have a warrant.
Or, something like that.
What
But
is
we'll
that?
find out.
What's that? I've never heard of that.
So Palantir is a software suite that's sold to the government that they use to cross-reference their own databases. So it's like intelligence gathering software. The military uses it, the FBI uses it, a lot of police agencies use it. And it allows them to try to triangulate things. So
I think they gave his car back, didn't they?
might be.
I think they gave Carlos's car back.
I'm way out on a limb speculating right now, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if, they had some dubious cell phone ping, some really vague description of a vehicle, like a silver vehicle, and then they just cross-referenced it with Hispanic people who lived in Tucson or something like that. The other possibility is, some kind of tip, confidential informant type of thing, but I don't see what that would be.
Right. When we met Josefina out there,
it's gonna be a proximity thing. Maybe he was in the area that night. Does he fit a description? I'm not saying that I don't know. They got the judge to sign it, so
I guess mother-in-law, she was saying how he was a delivery driver, and I was wondering.
Annie's car, I don't know. I have no idea.
If maybe he delivered something on that street, and maybe like they just went back and looked at all the cell phones that were in that area, and then looked at the pictures and who might have had similar eyebrows, something like that.
That certainly crossed my mind, but I don't know that he was ever even on that street. So.
But, why don't you just ask him? You just ask him.
I don't know. It's very strange to me to see
if he was on the street in the area in a van that somebody had reported suspicious activity. That's probably going to be enough for a search warrant, unfortunately.
Just the kind of the circus the police created where they
had Annie's car. I don't know if they still do or they don't.
Cast a shadow on his reputation and, through their actions, identifying him as a quote unquote person of interest, have really ruined his life right now, where he's having trouble maintaining employment. He was notified by his employer not to identify himself as being related to that employer. He's not getting work. And when he and his family go out into the community, and Rio Rico and Nogales are very small towns in Arizona, they feel like everybody's watching them, and people are coming up to them. People are making statements to them. And, Carlos's children are afraid to go to school because of this.
And then there was the second raid at the other house where there was no arrest there either. So we don't know if that's going to be a similar situation as Carlos, or I don't know if they're still investigating. It's kind of hard to sort out.
Well, I do know that with respect to
The guy has a ring light camera. That's all you need to know about this lawyer.
the second raid, an attorney in Tucson named Christopher Shalepi has said that he represents
A ring light.
that person as well as that person's mother and that they're innocent. They had nothing to do with it.
Let me guess. This is pro bono too. You don't get paid unless I get paid.
But again, you get met with this deafening silence from the sheriff's office and the sheriff, who seem to be quite comfortable going out and placing suspicion on people, but have no interest in clearing them after that happens.
What does Carlos want now? I mean, he's obviously retained you. Is he want to sue, or sort of what's the next step?
So the first step is for Sheriff Nanos to come forward and admit that they messed up, that Carlos is innocent. They have no reason to believe that he has any connection to this or any other incident. That's step one. And every day that goes by where Sheriff Nanos doesn't do that, it makes it worse for Carlos. The next steps after that are going to be an investigation that we will conduct to figure out exactly what the Pima County Sheriff's Office did and did wrong that led to that false arrest, false detention, and that illegal search.
Everything.
And then once we've completed that, our next step would be litigation if warranted.
I guess I always thought, and from other stories and cases I've covered, that when they do a search warrant where they bust inside and go through everything, that there's like real legitimate evidence to be able to do that.
There should be. That's what we hope. But, you know, again, this is a secret affidavit, and that's not particularly unusual. They often do secret probable cause affidavits. But what we do know is they searched the residence of an innocent man. And what we know about him leads us to believe that there's no way they could have possibly had a reason to actually believe he had anything to do with this case.
Interesting.
And so, you know, we all, I think, want to trust our government. We all want to trust the police officers who are, you know, out there working to protect the community. But what we've seen again and again in high-profile cases like this is that police will get frustrated with their inability to solve a crime, and they will end up making mistakes, leaping to judgment or rushing to judgment, and innocent people, innocent families get caught in the crossfire. You know, and so we have examples like Stephen Hatfill in the anthrax letter case, who was falsely accused by the FBI.
Richard Jewell. He's going to bring up Richard Jewell. I'll bet you anything.
And Richard Jewell.
Oh, yay!
The Atlanta Olympic bombing, falsely accused by the FBI.
Yeah, look, Richard Jewell was innocent, but like when they were investigating him, like he had a bunch of like fake grenades and shit at his house. I mean, you know,
FBI, whose life was ruined. And so, you know, when you have a high profile investigation like this and they don't have good leads, what I think happens is pressure comes from above, like, hey, we got to move, we got to do something, we got to make an arrest, we got to show the community we're working on this. And when that pressure happens, we know mistakes get made.
And just to go back for 1 second, just in conclusion, when he
Richard Jewell was completely innocent. They accused him of being the bomber at the Olympics in '96 in Atlanta. He was the one that saw the backpack and reported again another friggin' backpack.
He was in the police car.
Dubs in the chat.
For 7 hours or a couple of cars, and they were asking him questions. Was it like a real interrogation, or do you think they realized pretty quickly that he wasn't involved? Like, do you know anything about what they were asking him?
You know, my understanding is they were basically asking him.
Richard Jewell, they went crazy on him.
Questions about his whereabouts at various times. You know,
and they also did him dirty because when the actual guy was cleared or found, because he did it again, then they never came out and said, yeah, he's not, that wasn't our guy. We made him, he wasn't our guy. Not that they made a mistake, but they could have said, yeah, he wasn't our guy. They never did that.
I don't.
When they actually had another guy. So say Carlos isn't the guy and somebody's found. Well, then it's going to be pretty obvious. Yeah, well, they were investigating Carlos.
What one of the things that we anticipate getting is any video or recordings of that interview.
It's going to be, the body cam. When all this is done, the body cam footage is going to be wild.
And, that might give us more information once we have that. We do think it's going to be difficult to get it.
Oh,
and so it may be some time before we know the details of that.
Yeah, with the FBI involved. And I just know from the work I do, it can be very difficult getting those records once the feds are involved.
When they handcuffed him, placed him in the back of that car, made clear he was not free to leave, and held him for 5 to 7 hours in that fashion, I think it's just undisputable that constitutes an arrest under the United States Constitution. My understanding is that at some point he was read his rights, but my understanding is that was later on. It's also my understanding that he asked for an attorney and was not provided with one.
Okay, but now if that's true, then they have a actual case.
I hope that answers the question.
But you'd have to see the body cam footage.
It can sometimes be hard to make the distinction between what constitutes a detention and what constitutes an arrest. But usually if it's a matter, almost always if it's a matter of hours, that's going to end up being an arrest. And so my understanding is the only thing that hasn't been returned is Carlos's phone, of the things that were taken. What happened is,
Carlos said that he was not, that they didn't ask him anything.
Carlos was living with his in-laws.
Well, you're allowed to be detained under the law. They do it all the time. They have a certain amount of time under the law. You can be detained, but that doesn't mean you're free to leave. But that doesn't mean you're actually under arrest. I know it's a fine line. They have a certain amount of time before they actually have to arrest them.
And that is where they executed the search warrant. And the rest of the family was caught in the crossfire of what we view as an illegal detention and an illegal search. And, in those moments that evening and early into the morning, you can see the terror in her face, that she's been isolated from her family, that she's unable to figure out what's going on, and that police have
This is correct as well. When you ask for an attorney, that doesn't mean one shows up magically. They can make you wait for a very long time, and they do it. They just can't ask you any more questions.
entered her house and essentially kicked her out of it. I just think Americans of all political stripes should be horrified by this, because it is an abuse of government power, and for it to happen and then the government to remain silent, Sheriff Nanos to remain silent about its effects, when he could easily come forward and say, hey, we had information, we realized that information was bad, we realized that Carlos had no involvement in this. And that's really what we would expect a responsible leader in our community, a responsible sheriff, to come forward and say.
So that was Attorney Jesse Showalter, who is representing Carlos. I'll stay in touch with him. You guys remember I interviewed his mother-in-law when the raid happened, and I was out there, and she was so convinced that he wasn't involved from the very beginning. And they had taken her cell phone too. And, I actually kind of believed her then, but I just thought to myself, well, there's probably a lot I don't know. I had just shown up out there, but she was convinced. She said he doesn't know Nancy Guthrie. He wasn't in Tucson. the night she went missing. And it turns out, it seems she was right that he was not involved based on everything that we've heard. So I'll continue to dig into that. You heard the lawyer, Jesse, explain that they're trying to get the search warrant. I've also been trying to get the search warrant. A lot of that stuff is sealed. But once we can get those documents, it'll tell us exactly what authorities had to justify doing that search warrant, because the judge had to sign off on it. So sealed for now, but eventually, hopefully it'll be unsealed, especially as they really.
Well, if they're not asking him questions, then he's not going to get a lawyer. But if they want to question him, he has a right to a lawyer at any time.
You move on onto different leads. Let me go through also. This was the latest update that we got from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. In terms of neighborhood activity, they say detectives and agents are back today in the Guthrie neighborhood canvassing as part of the investigation, and that no additional details will be provided. But we know they were out here yesterday. I told you guys how they've changed the traffic pattern on Nancy Street. They put a bunch of cones out and closed off one of the lanes. They say detectives and agents have collected multiple gloves from the area, and analysis is part of the investigation. Specific details about these pieces of evidence will not be shared publicly. It remains an active investigation. They're saying that there have been no changes to resources in the investigation. There was one report, I think it was from ABC, that said that they may start to peel back resources as time goes on. And the sheriff is saying there have been no changes in resources. There may be fluctuations day to day based on investigative leads. Several hundred law enforcement personnel remain dedicated to the case. This will remain an active investigation until Nancy Guthrie is found or all leads are exhausted. DNA, they gave us an update, but really the latest update is what I told you at the beginning of this episode from the sheriff, that they're having challenges with the DNA, which isn't good news. There was some reporting about a helicopter over a landfill, and I was actually tracking it on one of the helicopter tracking apps, and you could see it doing a grid search over a landfill just about like 20 minutes from here. We went out to the landfill and were told there that, they didn't think it had anything to do with the Nancy Guthrie investigation. And now the sheriff's office confirmed the private aerial activity near a landfill was not related to the investigation. And then I already told you what they said about private search parties, basically saying that they appreciate the concern, but that this work is best left to the professionals, which really rubbed some people the wrong way, honestly. Some of the volunteer searchers, but also just some people in the community were like, why are they discouraging people from searching? The more, the better. So that was kind of an interesting statement that they made. So that's really the latest. Again, it's day 22. It's Sunday. I'm going to stay out here and just continue to investigate. I got a couple of things set up that I'm going to look into tomorrow. I appreciate all of you guys for following along. I appreciate all of your emails and direct messages. You guys have given me some really good ideas. And
God, I can't even imagine what those look like for him. Where is? Hold on. Let's see this really quick.
Tucson, Arizona, we are on day 22 in the search for Nancy Guthrie. And so far, investigators have received more than 40,000 tips, but so far, not one that has cracked this case. The Pima County Sheriff sharing that DNA analysis has been challenging as they're now working with a mixed sample. And now a group of volunteers as well has gathered to help find Nancy. News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton is in Tucson tonight with the very latest. Brian, what more are we learning?
Yeah, the DNA news is not what people were hoping to hear. We talked about that last night, Natasha, that the sheriff is now calling it a challenging situation, that it could take maybe even a year to sort out, which people were hoping they would be getting results any day now. In terms of the volunteer search crews, it's the first time we've seen that happen, Natasha, and they all organized today and they searched around.
Jenna, it feels like that this is no longer a search for somebody who is alive. That's my personal feeling, and that it maybe it did at the beginning, but that there was blood on her doorstep. Blood, an older lady.
Nancy Guthrie's home. They searched really in just the surrounding area. They went into tunnels.
I just don't think that they think that time is of the essence anymore. Like at first when she goes missing, like it's a panic. It's a scramble. It doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels like they're just trying to catch who did it.
There's these drainage tunnels, dark tunnels that they were looking in. They were looking under rocks. It was quite a search. You can see some video here. At one point, they found a backpack, which the sheriff's office actually came out and retrieved. It didn't seem to match the backpack that we saw in the surveillance photos or the surveillance video. But it was just personal for a lot of people from this area who feel a connection to this case. Listen to what one woman told us.
My mother died many years ago, and she would be around Nancy's age now.
Because and I hope that they do. I hope that they find Nancy, and then that leads them to many other answers. But if they just find Nancy, and you know, she's deceased, God forbid, you know, I know there's still hope, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like that still doesn't tell you who did this and why they did it. You know, there's a whole other aspect to this.
And if this was her, I would want people to do what they could to help find my mom. We can't change the past. We can only do what we can today. So the minute I heard that something had been organized, I was going to show up. So here we are. I didn't know him 3 hours ago, but we've teamed up on this.
I don't know.
You can hear the emotion in her voice, Natasha. I think.
I just think it's sick. I mean, it's sick. Anybody that would target, first of all, anybody that targets anybody is disgusting. But like the weak, vulnerable, elderly, children, I mean, there's just no room for them here.
A lot of people were just sort of waiting, watching law enforcement, but now feel like they want to do something. We've seen the flowers in front of Nancy Guthrie's house grow, and now we're starting to see these search parties. Natasha?
Yeah, appreciate that. And all the people who are trying to help in this case. Brian Enton live on the ground in Tucson tonight. Thank you. And for more, we are joined by genetic genealogist CeCe Moore. CeCe, it is so good to have you back. I know so many of our viewers, thousands of our viewers watching our conversation from yesterday and hoping that this really could lead to the break in this case. First of all, what do you make of the sheriff's office now saying the DNA found in the home is mixed, that there's genetic material from more than one person? Explain to us, is this bad news or is this just a delay in the investigation?
Well, it's very concerning. We have successfully worked a lot of mixture cases in investigative genetic genealogy. So initially I wasn't too concerned about it because you can sometimes have very straightforward mixtures where you have the victim's DNA and the perpetrator's DNA, and it's not difficult to deconvolute that, to separate out the perpetrator's DNA that you're trying to identify. But the fact that they are struggling with it tells me this is more of a complex mixture than I had hoped. That could be concerning. If there are multiple unknown people in that mixture, if there are 3 people in that mixture, then it comes down to what are the proportions. If none of those people have over, say, 40% contribution, that could be a real issue. I know we've done cases where there were multiple people in it, but one person, the primary contributor, showed 40% or more. So we were able to identify that person. Of course, I don't know the stats on this one, but the sheriff's update definitely concerned me and, you know, made me a little bit more discouraged.
Yeah,
This case has a lot of ups and downs.
A lot of ups and downs, and I trust that discouragement and that gut feeling from you. Tell me a little bit more about what it means for timeline. Does it take months to disentangle multiple genetic pieces like that, or would they know fairly quickly if this is, you know, valueless because they're not able to disentangle these?
Well, I can only go on what he said. And the way he said it made me believe that at the moment they're stuck, but they are hoping for advancements in mixture deconvolution. So because genetic genealogy has been so helpful in so many cases, there are a lot of scientists and academics who are paying much more attention to what we do than they used to. And there are a lot of people researching right now on mixture deconvolution. In fact, one of the bioinformatics scientists from Parabon, where I work, had a grant to actually study more on mixture deconvolution. So I'm sure there's many other scientists out there working on this right now. It sounds like that might be what he's getting at, is that we need an advancement here. And this is exactly how we get advancements in the science, right? So it's not totally hopeless. Somebody could come up with a new technique tomorrow or next week that can help get, you know, this particular person's DNA isolated.
Wait a minute.
That somebody could come up with a new technique tomorrow or next.
Is that like a splatter of blood there? Like I saw the droplets, but that looks like a spray, like an aspiration. Sorry, I don't mean to block her. Wow. Yeah, like yeah, it's like looks like aspiration. Jesus.
Week that can help get, you know, this particular person's DNA isolated. The other problem is if there's 3 unknown people, we don't know
Strangers. That's a lot of blood for an older woman.
which one is the one that we need to ID either. Right. So if they've got his DNA, if they're able to isolate her kidnapper's DNA, he absolutely will be identified through investigative genetic genealogy. As I've said, it's a matter of time. Yeah,
I mean that I don't know anything about blood drops or blood splatter. I don't know anything about that, but I've had many bloody noses, and you know, I have no idea if that almost looks like it would be from like some sort of cough. I mean, for that to come out of your nose would be, it's weird.
Tell me more about this, because it sounds like it should be easy, right? That genetic genealogy means that
Look at this dipshit. I mean, I don't even know who this guy is. I hate him.
law enforcement will have access.
Going around preying on people, even if he's not like the main guy, he's still at this lady's house. It's disgusting.
Access to these massive consumer databases like 23andMe and all the ones we know.
Yeah, I'm sure she could have sneezed, but still a lot of blood.
And they'll be able to find a relative who matches the DNA at the crime scene, much like in the Brian Koberger case. But you say there are major public misperceptions when it comes to genetic genealogy. Why is it not that simple?
Well, there are over 50 million people who have taken direct-to-consumer DNA tests, but the vast majority of those people's profiles are in the 3 biggest companies, Ancestry DNA, 23andMe, and MyHeritage. All 3 of those companies have barred law enforcement's use and access. So we are actually limited to the 3 smallest databases, which are Family Tree DNA, GEDmatch, and DNA Justice. And there are less than 2 million profiles for us to compare against in violent criminal cases. So that is going to make it much more difficult than if we had access to the 50 million people who've taken tests.
Yeah, and I would trust Chris's expertise on that. I mean, the guy's been to hundreds and hundreds of crime scenes, hundreds, and they weren't all murders, but you know, he knows a thing or two about blood. I know that. It looks like a cough to me too, though, or it's almost like she'd have to be like bent over or leaned over or on her knees or something like. I mean, it's just a sick to even think about.
Many of whom believe we
I
are
don't speculate too much.
using their DNA, even though they aren't in the databases that we can access.
If we had access to those 50 million cases, to those 3 big databases, do you think this could be solved in minutes?
I do, but only if they're able to isolate the kidnapper's DNA.
Right. It's this added layer now, this added complication.
Yeah.
What can I ask? What specifically needs to happen to compel these 3 big databases, the 23andMe and others, to help law enforcement in this case? And do you think that that is likely?
Well, I first approached them back in 2012, asking if this was something they're willing to do. And they were very resistant to it and have continued to be. In fact, Ancestry has become so resistant, they've now barred us from even using their digitized records, the billions of records, the public family trees, and their tree building software to do these types of cases.
Yeah,
so it's gone the wrong direction, right? They've gotten less willing to help. So I think the only way they would is if there was a successful warrant. If the FBI or Pima County served them with a warrant for access to their database, which I think is a real strong possibility if they're able to isolate that DNA, it could happen. And I think they have a very strong legal argument. I'm not a legal expert, but based on what I've heard, it's a very strong argument that the attorneys would be making for law enforcement to access that database.
What can people do if they want to help
Like that could be like out of the nose.
on an individual level?
Well, thanks for asking. They can download.
Ugh. Why is she bleeding? Like,
their raw data, if they've tested their DNA anywhere, upload it to
well, that's I was going to play a little bit of that because I was curious. I haven't seen that either.
GEDmatch, DNA Justice, and Family Tree DNA. And at GEDmatch, they also need to check the box that says that law enforcement can compare against their DNA. And that they can help us solve lots of cases, right? We have hundreds of, or I'd say thousands of cases in those databases.
Is that what you think too, Eric? I think that's what it looks like to me.
Right now that are waiting to be solved. So even if they didn't help solve Nancy,
My grandfather, who had emphysema, he would, I know it's gross, but he would spit up blood sometimes and he would cough it. And it kind of looks similar.
case, they may give answers to another family or survivor of violent crime.
Cece Moore, great to have you back on again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeez. Where's Banfield? Bombshell blood. Okay, let's hear it.
Everyone, I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. I have very big news that I can break to you tonight about the Nancy Guthrie investigation. I have spoken with one of my sources, and I did not know this before. I'm going to tell you about that in a second. Quick housekeeping, though. Tomorrow night, I'm going to hold a members-only Q&A session. All the questions you have about the Nancy Guthrie case, as well as any other questions that you want to ask. Big Q&A session tomorrow. That's Sunday, February the 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you're not a member, hit the join button and then you can submit your questions as well. If you are a member already, I put the link to the chat in my community.
Let's hear about the blood.
I've used the box for what I've discovered, and that makes it all
I need to get a food sponsor too. That'd be awesome.
all the more fascinating. The reporting that's coming out today.
But Josh, you called people dumb in your chat. Well, sometimes people need to be talk turkey too.
As well as what I've discovered from my source, just sort of puts me in a
You're unsponsorable. You made fun of people.
whole different direction now.
Yeah, well, people make fun of me too, so get over it.
I've spoken to someone who is in law enforcement, is familiar with the investigation, who has told me that the blood found, and again, blood found inside the house. This is something that I reported on day 3, that another source of mine, a high-level law enforcement source, reported there was blood found inside the house. No one in law enforcement, the sheriff, etc., has confirmed that. But my source said there was blood found in the house today.
Dude, I would take a Domino's. I would take a Domino's sponsorship.
Another law enforcement source familiar with the investigation has said that the pattern of that blood inside the house matches the pattern outside the house, outside Nancy's front door. So you've seen that video where you can see droplets of Nancy Guthrie's blood leading away from her front door and down the gravel path to the driveway. But those pattern droplets, as many experts have, described it, are as vertical. They fall straight up and down 90 degrees.
I would do a hemorrhoidal cream sponsorship. I mean, if they pay money.
And there's no.
Got an itch you can't scratch? Got what feels like a stick in your ass? Try Preparation H. It makes the hardest of situations easy.
Smears. There's no stepping in it. There's no struggle. There's no signs of struggle on that front doorstep. My source tells me it is exactly the same inside the house, that there's no sign of struggle in that blood. It's not smeared. There's no steps. They are the straight up and down drop pattern blood. I asked where in the house, and I did not get that answer. I can't tell you if it was in the bedroom, if it was in the front entrance. What I can tell you is that at the time that 911 was called and sheriff's deputies were dispatched, and patrolmen came. Basically, it was a call about a missing elderly woman. They were not aware at the time that this was much more than a missing elderly woman, but the signs, again, and this is a second source now telling me this, is that the back door was wide open. The blood droplets were inside the house and out.
Speaking of your back door being wide open, do you need Preparation H?
Outside the house, and the front camera had been knocked off its mount. My first source said smashed, cameras plural, nest. Second source now saying definitely camera knocked off or ripped off or moved off in some way. And so this is just fascinating, because at the same time that I'm learning this information about this
No, I don't trust her source. Not really.
blood droplets inside the house matching blood droplets, the same pattern outside the house. There's reporting that comes from NBC that the sheriff has given an interview to NBC, taped it yesterday. It was released today, and I'm recording this at 10 o'clock at night, Saturday, February 21st. And this is what the reporting says, that there are no names that the sheriff's team is looking into. And there's a snag with the mixed DNA at the Florida lab that the sheriff is using.
Got wrinkles under your eyes?
What's interesting is Michael Ruiz
Do you want those wrinkles tightened up?
from Fox says, like, this runs completely counter to what we've been told till now, or at least what we've discovered, reporters and
Hit it with the pH. Make those crow's feet disappear.
investigators who are looking into this case have discovered. The statements from local law enforcement do not match what we've learned with our own eyes, that there are names that have been taken and photographs to various gun shops all around Tucson. Gun shop owners and workers have actually been on television talking about it, running the names that they were given through their system. None of them apparently coming up positive at this point. So maybe it's semantics, but there were names. It's just that maybe those names haven't panned out. But again, the clarity is not there with regard to what the sheriff is saying. There's no names the team is looking into. FBI was certainly looking into names, upwards of 40. Brian Ensign said upwards of 40. Other reporters saying several dozen. Photographs as well being taken around to local gun shops. It's also unclear at this point if the DNA that was recovered inside the house, the male profile, unknown male DNA that didn't match Nancy Guthrie or any of those people.
Jesus, Martha.
Who are close to her, it's unclear if it's been useful. This is sad. This is something that, this is coming from how the sheriff has interviewed with NBC. And it's frustrating because the sheriff said that the lab that he's using is having trouble isolating mixed DNA samples.
We knew that already.
He said again that everything's still being analyzed, but this is troubling because we've been wondering why we got a report back so quickly on gloves 2 miles away that had DNA in them that was, sent off to CODIS, returned back, no hits, and also doesn't match DNA that's in the house. That now we're learning that this is a struggle, we've been hearing before from the sheriff that there needs to be a separation of the mixture. That's kind of the wording that he was using before. But now that there's a snag with mixed DNA at the Florida lab, unclear if the DNA recovered has been useful at this time. So I thought
true.
right away to talk to Cece Moore. Cece is the chief genetic genealogist.
So she's basically saying that there is blood in the house, according to her source, her impeccable source.
Just at Parabon Nano Labs. She knows everything. I mean, literally walking encyclopedia when it comes to DNA. And I had so many questions about the difficulty that the lab in Florida is having separating out the mix, as the sheriff told NBC. And then this report that there are these blood drops inside the house. I just had so many questions about what kind of mix could this possibly be. So I had a lengthy conversation with Cece about this, as well as the efforts, if they do get that sample, to upload it to CODIS at some point. Or if that doesn't work.
I don't know if I could do another. I don't think I can. She talks to her for like 20 minutes, like 30 minutes. It's like a 30-minute conversation.
Use investigative genetic genealogy, and they're not the same thing. And there's a lot of confusion about it. And she clears it all up, exactly what the path is. So I want you to hear that conversation with Cece Moore. Cece, tell me about the significance of what the sheriff has told NBC that the Florida lab, and this is, I'm giving it in my lingo, is struggling to separate out this DNA. What does that say to you?
Yeah, it's really concerning. And it tells me that it's unlikely that it is Nancy's DNA mixed with the suspect. And that's really what I was hoping for. Because if it was Nancy's with an unknown male, then that almost certainly would be the suspect, especially if it was fresh DNA, if it was friend.
Why does Banfield look like a ghost?
For instance, blood, if she fought back, because clearly there was some kind of altercation. So that leads me to speculate it's more likely it's two or more unknown people's DNA. That's not so straightforward if you don't know who either of those contributors are. There might even be more than two, which really makes it very complex. If it was Nancy's DNA mixed with an unknown male, they have her DNA, they've got the blood from the front porch, it would be relatively straightforward to extract her portion out.
Okay, so Banfield doesn't have a ring light, but Carlos's lawyer does. Okay.
From that mixed sample. It's called deconvolution. And it's something we do a lot. Our scientists at Parabon are amazing at it.
I have a ring light. Watch this on my computer. Check this out. Yes, I think so. Edge light. What the hell's that? Ta-da! Ta-da!
So a lot of my cases I've been able to help solve were from mixed samples, but you have to have a certain proportion of the person that you're trying to identify in that. If they are the minor contributor by a significant amount, if it's say 90% one person and 10% the person you want to ID, that can be virtually impossible. So it's really disappointing. I definitely had my hopes up that this was going to be a straightforward deconvolution, that it was Nancy and someone else, which would make it more definitively tied to the actual crime. If it's, say, transfer DNA or what's commonly called touch DNA from multiple unknown people, that really does make it difficult, and that's really disappointing.
I have so many questions about that. And the news that my source has broken to me today is that those blood droplets outside continued inside in the same pattern inside. I can't tell you where, just that the blood that was found inside the house, my source, law enforcement source, says it is the same droplet pattern. It's not a struggle. It's not a smear. But does that help you to sort of think through what might be happening in Florida?
Well, we don't even know if it is that sample, at all. It could be something completely different.
True.
Maybe they swabbed a faucet, for instance. Sometimes when people are at a crime scene for an extended period of time, which it sounds like this person was, they use the restroom. It's the oddest thing. There's been people who have spit in the toilet, who have used the toilet and left it and didn't flush it. And
grotesque.
so we've been able to identify people that way. So it's so difficult to speculate as to what it is they have without more information. But just, as we just discussed, the fact that the deconvolution is difficult, if that reporting is true, that does make me believe it's less likely that it is one of those straightforward deconvolutions where you can extract out one person's known DNA.
And to be clear, the sheriff has only released that there is
what's up?
Biological, matter that they are continuing to test. At one point said DNA, male DNA,
that's fun,
not connected to Nancy or her immediate circle of known.
I actually did see him say it was a mixture. First, he was talking about separating it out, so I was speculating it was.
I'm kind of the same. I need that. Hey, look, it happened it happens in a lot of cases. She's spot on. Didn't wash his hands, sick bastard.
A mixture, but then I actually heard him use those words.
Yeah, and I have too. And I wondered, is it possible that now knowing this information that there's this blood and it's droplets?
I gotta perfect this here a sec. Do you have an itch that you can't scratch? Do you have pain in your ass?
Inside the house, that there might have been some kind of a struggle.
If so, hit it with the Preparation H, the one-stop soother.
Or an injury happening.
You can get it at your local Walgreens, over the counter, no prescription required.
Where the assailant, expelled
an extra strength, just in case it's quite the booger.
Saliva or just expiring, his own breath may have mixed with her.
Do it in my Trump voice. Do you have an itch you can't scratch? I've had that. I've had itches that I can't scratch.
Blood, is that a possibility?
It certainly is, but I believe that if that was what they were working with, they would not be struggling with it. Now, I don't know how reliable that reporting is, but if that is correct, that is what leads me to believe that it is something, less straightforward than that. Ever since we heard there was a mixture, I was hoping it's Nancy's DNA, it's the suspect's DNA mixed, that, would be something that I don't think
it's true.
The lab would struggle with at all. But we've been contacted in the past where they've had 3 contributors or 4 contributors. And, if these are unknown individuals, it becomes very difficult, if not impossible, to separate that out and to be able to focus on this one.
I feel like I have a stick poking my butt. I hate that feeling.
A lot of people would wonder, well, what kind of a mixed source might they have tapped? And I'm not suggesting you're going to know, but I thought if there's male DNA, it could be, came in a FedEx package and the FedEx package went onto the counter in the kitchen. Is that the kind of thing that might end up becoming a mixed sample, or is that way off?
No, that's correct. And that is why it's so disappointing to me as well, because if it's not blood, if it's not saliva, if it's transfer DNA or touch DNA, as people call it, that is less likely to be the suspect, because we leave DNA everywhere we go. And you and I could be together and I could get a piece of your hair on me and I could go home and transfer that into my home and you were never even there. So having someone's DNA, if it's transfer DNA, doesn't necessarily mean they were even there. We could shake hands and I leave a few skin cells on your hand and then you could transfer that somewhere.
It's disgusting.
And so it's just far less definitive if that is the type of
That's
DNA
disgusting.
that they're working with, that it's actually the suspect's DNA. And we know he had gloves. We know he was covered, right? We saw the video. So he was definitely making an
We all saw it. Everybody saw it. Sure did. We saw it. You saw it. No, you saw. Yeah, I saw. You saw it.
effort to not leave any biological material behind.
But he was breathing. But he was breathing, and doesn't breath just automatically expel, or is that just too small of a sample?
I think it depends. I think if somebody sneezed or coughed, you'd have a much better chance. Breathing, not so much. But he had that, what appeared to be that flashlight in his mouth. So that's really hopeful because he likely took that out, right? So he's wearing gloves to try to keep from leaving his.
It's not just cream. We also have the suppository. That's right. We told RFK, get that in a suppository form.
DNA, but there's saliva all over that, what looked to be a bite flashlight. He takes it out of his mouth. Now he has saliva all over his gloves. And that could absolutely have been left in the home. It would have been very difficult for him not to leave that somewhere. So that's hopeful, but maybe it's on the door, right? I'm not sure.
Handle, yeah. Right? Or, I mean, on the door handle, on the cameras that.
Oh, you missed it earlier. I was fighting people off with a stick. A stick that just so happened that two women were smelling.
That are missing, and my source said smashed, but certainly it is gone off that bracket. That could have, and I wondered that what appears to be a bite light in your mouth would also make you salivate, and maybe there had been some saliva that dropped on those front tiles.
Exactly. I've been speculating the exact same thing for the last few days, that if he leaned forward to disable that
I'm not kidding. I was under attack earlier.
camera with that in his mouth, it would have been extremely difficult to keep from slobbering on the ground. So I think that's an option too, although that's more likely to be single source, and it doesn't, and single source means, you know.
Yeah, I'm really not that keen on it, but I think so. I think I need
Just that person's DNA, but it doesn't
I'm ready for the sponsorship.
sound like that's what they're working with. If they had that, I don't think they'd be struggling, because it's unlikely there'd be anyone else's DNA right there under that.
And it was found inside the house. We know that the biological matter and that, you know, that this
right.
mixed sample of DNA is from inside the house. What else could that be? Could that be, I mean, I suppose it could be a lot of things, but
Yes,
what sort of examples could you imagine in your line of work that a mixed sample inside the house could be?
Well, it could be blood, it could be saliva, it could be semen and bodily fluids, it could be touch transfer DNA. Those, and it could be hair, but not mixed. So if it's hair, it wouldn't be mixed. So if we're just talking about mixed exclusively, those are the only ones that I can think of. So it's it's either a bodily fluid or a sweat, which is typically, transfer DNA, is you find that. So
and again, he's covered head to toe, so it's hard to imagine that any sweat would have
unless he touched something, that outfit looked uncomfortable. If he reached inside that, and he could very well have been sweating, or maybe some could have dripped, because he did have some bits of skin that were uncovered. And if he leaned forward, for instance, if Nancy was in the bed, for example, and he leaned forward, during the abduction, it's certainly possible something could have dripped on the sheets. I don't think we have any reason to believe there was a sexual assault, but we very commonly see mixtures in sexual assaults. That's very, very common. It's actually one of the reasons we work with them so often. Hopefully there was nothing like that, but we can't rule it out because we don't know what they found in the home. So, to summarize what you just asked, blood, saliva, semen, sweat, skin cells are probably the options that they'd be.
So if we're talking about, I mean, skin cells are hard again because he's all covered up. But like you said, if he touched that bite light, now the saliva is on the glove, and he uses a door handle. He's got to open a door, right?
And then that would be mixed, right? Because a lot of people touched that door handle, undoubtedly. So you have to hope he was the last one who did, and he's the major contributor. You're always hoping in the mixture that your unidentified person that you need to zero in on is the majority of that DNA sample.
Can I ask you, it's hard to know what the sheriff means when he says that they're having trouble isolating mixed DNA samples. Is it possible they will never get an actual viable sample from a mix, or is it just possible that they're having trouble identifying it?
It is possible that they would be unable to deconvolute it to the point where it would be identifiable. That's why it's so disappointing.
Why is that? Too small a sample?
It's more it's the percentages. So if it is the minor contributor that you're trying to identify, and he's only 10% of that mixture, it can be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to identify that individual, especially if it's more than 2. If it's 2, I think, there's a chance. But if it's 3 and 4, and you don't have the reference samples for the other individuals in that mixture, then you've got a real problem. If they could say, okay, there's 3 people in this mixture and one of them is Annie's. Okay, we've got Annie's DNA. We can work with that to extract it. That would be helpful. But then you still have 2 unknown individuals. And it's very difficult to separate that out without a reference sample, unless one person's DNA is, by far the major contributor in that mixture. So I wouldn't say it's impossible. It just depends on so many factors. Depends on how many people in the mixture. It depends on the percentages. Is one person 50%, one person 40, and another 10? Is one person 90% and another 10?
So why can't they send it back to Arizona? So it's basically screwed now. Like, once it's been tried to be tested, or once it's been tested, you can't retest it. Like, the sample is God, dude.
All of those things are what go into determining whether it's going to be able to be successfully deconvoluted and then identified.
The FBI has the biggest DNA database in the universe. Why not just have sent it there?
And
I think that would be one that you would probably let the FBI do, right? I mean, I would think so. I mean, they do DNA. They do DNA well. Nobody does DNA like them. I know that for a fact. Yeah, you're probably right. Sucks.
to be clear, I've mentioned this a lot in many of my episodes. This lab in Deerfield Beach, Florida, I think it's called DNA International. Is that
DNA
correct?
Labs International, yes.
DNA Labs International. No joke. They are good.
Right.
And they
are
have
very
solved. Right. And I know that there was a lot of consternation early on. Wow, how could the sheriff do this? But
I don't have a condition.
literally, they are a phenomenal outfit that has solved crimes before, like really tricky crimes to solve. If they can't do it, is there anybody else who could? Or if they can't do it, you're at the end of the road.
Well, I mean, I don't want to advocate for Parabon, but I would say Parabon's bioinformatics scientists are specialists in mixture deconvolution. It's something that they are especially good at. A lot of my successful cases have been. But again, even for them, it's going to come down to the proportions and the number. So I don't know. I haven't worked with DNA Labs International's deconvolution because we have such good bioinformaticists at Parabon. So I don't want to say they're better than theirs. I don't know. But I believe very strongly in this lab. I've worked with them. They are great at extracting DNA. Parabon doesn't do extractions. So we've had them extract the DNA from the evidence on a lot of our successful cases that I've been able to go on and help law enforcement solve. And so I know how good they are on really difficult samples. So as I've been saying all week, I have full confidence in them. And I actually think the sheriff made a great choice because they're kind of a one-stop shop. They can do the extraction, they can create the STR profile, which is the one that's uploaded to CODIS, and they can create the SNP profile that's used for genetic genealogy, all in parallel, right? As soon as they do the
I mean, I don't know. I don't think that was the intention personally. But whenever I say that, somebody goes, "You're an asshole. You don't know what you're talking about." Just partially true.
extraction, they can start both of those other
Well,
processes
maybe it's all
at
true.
once. And so he saved time, because if you just send it to someone that only has the capability for the CODIS profile, which the FBI does, FBI doesn't have the capability to create a SNP profile for genetic genealogy in-house. They always send that out. And that is not something that is done in public labs, government labs. It's always a private third-party lab that creates that SNP profile. And so by sending it to a lab he has a lot of experience with, he's had a contract with them for a long time, he's obviously had a lot of successes with them. To me, that was a great choice. Was it the best choice? I don't know. I would think so, in my opinion, but I don't know all, the details. But the fact he was criticized for it, I think
you're in the
was
business.
really-
I think people would value your opinion, because this literally is your business. You know it better than any of us.
Well, I think he made a great choice. And the fact he was criticized for it was, in my mind, competitive posturing from the people that were speaking out about it, because the person who originally was interviewed that came out and said it was devastating owns a competing lab, and they would have, I'm sure, liked to have worked the case. We all would have liked to have worked the case. I would have loved to have helped try to find Nancy. But, only one lab, one team is likely to get that opportunity, at least outside the FBI. The FBI may come in and bring their investigative genetic genealogy team in, just like they did on the Koberger case. It was started by one company, and then it wasn't happening quickly enough, apparently. So the FBI took over the investigative genetic genealogy and identified him. We might see something similar here, but first they've got to get that SNP profile. And probably the glove that was found 2 miles from the home, I wouldn't be surprised if they already have that, or already, moving forward with that. But the DNA inside the home, which to me is much more compelling, apparently seems to be challenging. So it may take a while for them to create a SNP profile, if they're even able to do so. And that's the first time I've said that, because I've always thought they absolutely would be able to, but I didn't have all the information.
And I'm going to get to that process in a minute, but I just want to be super clear, because sometimes I need people to talk to me like I'm 5.
As we all do, if it's something we're not.
That's not true. We don't all need that. I don't, you know what? I don't know. I don't know why. Does anybody know why there was a blue tarp up today?
Super familiar with.
Right.
Slip and slide, maybe?
STR is the standard thing that most people are used to hearing about, but SNP, how does that differ in the most simplistic terms?
It's just a completely different type of genetic marker. So an STR is a short tandem repeat. It's a certain type of genetic marker. SNP is a single nucleotide polymorphism. It's a type of genetic marker that
You said talk to her like she's 5.
changes with polymorph. It's a certain type of genetic marker. SNP is a single nucleotide polymorphism. It's a type of genetic marker that changes quickly. So we share 99.9% of our DNA. But if you want to identify someone, you need to look at the portions of the DNA that mutate more quickly, that vary among us. And the only reason that 2 people would share a significant stretch of SNPs is if they have a common ancestor in their family tree. And that is what
We got to get the SNPs. We need SNPs. We've always needed SNPs. Nobody SNPs like we do. Snip.
our work is based on. We need to find.
All right, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it so much. What's tomorrow? Monday. She's like, I don't even know what the hell this means. What the hell does that mean? 51537 question mark question mark question mark. Nanos nan YC. Like, what the frig does that mean? And that picture is horrifying. All right. It really is. I mean, it's scary shit. It's been a weird night. Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here. Bye, Rusty. Tell your mom not to go on that cruise to Mexico. It just seems like a terrible idea. Shout out to the Karens. We love our Karens. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. It's very kind. Wow. Thanks for the late night company. Well, I appreciate it. I actually covered I saw you say about the sniffs. Or not the snips, but the ladies that were poking in the dirt. And we went over that in great detail. So thank you again. Thanks everybody. I appreciate it. Yeah, but I was told tonight that I was childless. Sure. All of it true. Every last bit of it true. Here, man. Probably not that important. See Eric. See Eric. Eric. Can you hear me better now? Can you hear me better now? Really? What the frick? I said what I was saying was, hold on. What I was saying was, it's been a weird night because I've been told that I was childish, immature, and rude. All of those things, completely true. I have no illusions that I'm not. I don't mean to be. I just can't help it sometimes. It's just how I am. It's who I am. I do. I look like I'm the crime scene guy. Anyway. Whatevs. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. That's true. I don't even use that term. I don't even use those terms, but it actually seemed kind of fitting. All right. Prank call, then night.
Hello.
Yeah, you guys do cash for cars?
Yeah, what do you got?
77 Chrysler Newport.
Oh no, that's not for me. I'm sorry.
What's that?
No, I can't sell those cars. I don't know nothing about them. I'm sorry.
Oh, what are you looking for? Specific kind of car?
Yeah, sir, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sleeping.
Wait. This is big. You're sleeping.
Yeah, sir, I'm sleeping.
Okay, but you can't sell the car that I'm trying to.
No, I'm just not interested. Okay.
Are you sure?
Positive. Are you sure?
What about an Amigo? You like those?
No.
Well,
I don't know what an Amigo is.
What kind of a car are you looking for? It doesn't specify.
It's Honda, Toyota, Honda, Acura. Just on the head.
Like what about a Hyundai?
Yes, I'm not interested. I just want to deal with you.
You don't want to deal with me?
You act like a smart ass now.
What are you talking about? I'm just calling.
Yeah. Don't call me, please. We're lucky phone number. You're ridiculous.
Why'd you call me a smart ass?
Because you're a nut job.
No,
you're
I'm
a
not.
nut job.
You're a nut job.
You're a nut job.
No, you're a nut job.
You're just a nut job.
You're just a nut job.
You're a nut job.
No, I'm not. You are.
You're a nut job.
You don't want to buy my car. You said you have cars for cash.
I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with you.
What did I do?
You're just a nut job. Good night.
No.
Goodbye. Don't call me.
I'm a nut
Hang
job?
up. Goodbye.
How about
Goodbye.
you?
Goodbye.
You hang up. You.
Goodbye. Please leave us alone. Please. You're harassing us.
No, I'm not.
You're harassing us.
Just
please.
hang up the phone then if
Please.
you're not interested.
Bye.